era for American cricket began in 2021.
There he goes into a dive! What a catch!
The rise of cricket was celebrated across the country. Now, with big wickets and even bigger hits, the stars of minor league cricket are back and better than ever.
Primus goes huge!
Don't miss the nation's largest league competing for the biggest prize in American cricket. The Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship returns June 25th.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
At the striker's end, Unmuk Chand over at the non-striker's end will be the other opener. And Ahsan Adil right now getting things started. He has been very tight inside the power play, although his wicket taking, where he is the leader here in minor league cricket, with 16 of them on the season, that tends to happen towards the end of the innings instead. Second delivery coming here as we've had a brief pause for dealing with a few of the advertising boards flying off the boundary. That's tapped to the onside. Zakiel with a 4 off the first delivery, drilled to mid-wicket from the left side, and we'll see now the left-right partnership between Zakiel and Chand in action. Unmuk Chand, the sort of person who, if you're new, might need an introduction, but if you are not, certainly needs none. Unmuk Chand, the Under-19 World Cup captain and champion in for India in 2011. A 111 not out in the final. He's put up a massive score as well, not out in an important game here in minor league cricket already. In his short 1.5-year career here stateside. 132 not out in what proved to be a decisive playoff match last season down in Austin. Again, a delay here as Ahsan Adil now storming in for what will be the third delivery of a surprisingly long first over. Bit of a false shot on that one as the bat face closes a little too quickly. Sprayed over to the offside, and it's a dot ball to get started. Taking a look here at the team sheets, 2 changes for the Golden State Grizzlies. Abhi Singh and Malik Junaid, who both participated in last week's game against the San Diego Surf Riders, not in the starting lineup today. Hamad Azam and Sheryar Khan taking their places on the team sheet. Just one change for Silicon Valley strikers, and you're looking at it at the non-strikers end. Zahid Zakiel in for the man that has been the opening batsman the last handful of matches, Arsh Butch. Tapped elegantly over to the onside at short mid-wicket. Unmuk Chand still looking to get off the mark here in the first over. Mentioned Adil so far on the season, the leading wicket taker. He's also got the 4th best strike rate and 8th best average. Those 2 stats, though, eliminating anybody who's had fewer than 10 overs bowled. Try to get a big enough sample size for the statistics to mean something. Fifth ball of the over coming in here from Adil to Unmuk Chand. Tapped again to square leg. That'll get him off the mark. A single for man, and here comes a throw in. That's going to strike the stumps and produce the opportunity for an overthrow. Zahid Zakiel, great quick reactions on that to spot that the ball had kicked far enough away from Zia Mohammad Shahzad to pick up another run. 2 off of it. That'll leave Chand back on strike for the final ball here of the first over. Inside the power play, of course, fielding restrictions in place, just 2 men outside the 30-yard circle. The captain of the Golden State Grizzlies, Sami Aslam, has chosen to put them at backward square and at third man. Final delivery of the over coming up here, Adil to Chand. That is tapped back towards the man at now fine leg. That'll be a single to finish things off. 7 from it. Correction, rather, 8 from the over, 8 for no loss through 1.
1, 2, 3.
Second over of today's match between the Silicon Valley Strikers and Golden State Grizzlies here on Toyota Minor League Cricket. Ready to get underway, it's going to be Ruchir Joshi taking the ball from the Barrett Avenue end. First delivery is down the leg side, signaled as a wide. Free runs here courtesy of Joshi. And of note, 10.5 overs under his belt. That is the first extra off of Ruchir Joshi, at least in terms of the ones that are charged directly to a bowler. Leg byes and byes notwithstanding, but that's his first wide or no ball of the entire season. He'll look to find the radar, bowling over the wicket here to Unmuk Chand. Push to point, nothing doing. Chand on the season, a 139 strike rate. Slightly better against pace than against spin. A little more circumspect early in his innings, though. That strike rate coming down to 124 during the power play. That one pushed to the vacant area at mid-wicket. Protection out at the boundary, but so it'll just be a single for Chand. That'll bring Zakiel back on strike. Fielding changes, of course, at play here as Sami Aslam reorganizes for Zahid Zakiel. As we mentioned, 2 allowed outside the inner circle. They are now positioned at third man for the left-handed batsman, as well as square leg. We'll see if Joshi's looking to try and get a nick here, as he also has a slip in place. Swing and a miss from Zakiel. Hamad Azam parked at the slip position just to the side of Karan Chandel, the wicketkeeper. Another big hoik and another miss as Joshi continues to work with a 5th or 6th stump line here. You would imagine looking to pick up that edge. That perhaps a little more of the method of getting out the man that Zakiel has replaced in the lineup. Zakiel, the Afghani, waits here in his 3rd match of action this season. Another swing and a miss, and it's 3 consecutive dots for Joshi. And the captain, Unmuk Chand, nice to have him out there with you. Get a quick chat in, see if they can work out how to defend against this. Zakiel at the moment not really making much use of his feet, sort of a stand and deliver situation, but the ball dancing away and skidding just a little bit. Most of these swings have been a touch too high, the ball skidding underneath the bat. Gets to this one, it's up in the air too long off, no protection in that area, and that is going to go all the way for a 6. So far, Zahid Zakiel dealing almost exclusively in boundaries, 11 runs for him, 2 of them coming off a boundary and a maximum. That'll take care of things here in this second over, 15 for no loss. 16 rather.
My son, he's so soft-spoken.
Oh, yeah!
Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom.
Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Second over from the San Pedro end for Ehsan Adil. His first over went for 8, courtesy of a 4 from Zakiel. A couple of singles and an overthrow. He'll be bowling at the captain, Unmuk Chan, to get things started. Right hand from over the wicket, and that one sprayed to the offside, and that's going to find its way to the boundary for Unmuk Chan's first boundary of the day. Cover drive that found its way into the air, perhaps a little more than Chand might like, but good knowledge of how the field is placed in that sort of moment. Sami Aslam inside the circle there. Again, the deep protection is exclusively behind Chand. Fine leg and third man. Fiddling at the second delivery, elects to let it go. Chand so far on the season, 4th most runs in minor league cricket after leading the entire league in that statistic, that ever important statistic last season. He's also got the 6th most 4s and the 10th best average. One of just 15 players in the league right now with multiple 50s on the season, capped by that 104 not out last week against San Diego. Zakiel on his way in. 3rd delivery of the over. Chand will knock that one down. Better line and length. Quick pump fake of trying to catch the non-striker sleeping. No dice. Now, we mentioned Adil's main virtue so far this season in the power play has been his ability to keep it tight. Keep from giving up too many runs. His economy just a shade under 5 runs per over. And he's bowled 54% of his overs inside the power play. So far, 5 of his deliveries have been dots, but 2 4s, mussing up the figures a little bit. That one dropped into a vacant area as they run up from the boundary. Chand will take a single, gives Zakiel a chance. Zahid Zakiel, worth noting, as we mentioned, just 2 opportunities so far. He batted twice during the road trip down to Texas over the 4th of July weekend. But so far has looked very, very good in this opening spot. Went for 40 off 29 balls in his first outing, coming against the Houston Hurricanes. Followed that up with a slightly slower 30 off of 31 balls. Delivery coming to Zakiel, and again, much tighter line, not giving the width that Chand worked with on the first ball to push it over to the offside for that boundary. Length causing a very defensive shot out of Zakiel. As we mentioned, he's almost entirely dealt in boundaries so far today. Day is young here, with 1 ball left in the 3rd over. A 6 and a single. Adil taking his time. Here comes the final delivery of the 3rd. That one lifted in the air. Tracking back is Shivam Mishra. Will he manage to get to it? Not quite. Takes 1 bounce and is to the boundary rope for a 4. Real chance there, as that one was way up in the sky for quite a while, and Mishra definitely has the wheels to get there, just barely outside of his reach. That'll bring an end to the over. 9 from it, 25 for no loss. The Barrett Avenue end, and he is greeted rudely by Unmuk Chand, who deposits that one to the square leg boundary on the fly. A 6 to get the 4th over started. And a bit of uncharacteristic acceleration here from Chand very, very early in the piece. Ruchir Joshi, a transfer in from East Bay Blazers after last season. Took 5 wickets last year at a 29 average, an economy of exactly a run a ball, and struck roughly every 29 balls bowled. So far today, 14 runs off of him, and that hard hit prompting a visit from the captain and perhaps some re-strategization. We have mentioned that Chand largely being protected back behind him. They now move someone to that square leg boundary, also again adjusting some of the boards at the boundary rope. It'll be Joshi again coming from the Barrett Avenue end. That one tapped to an area between the fielders at square leg, taking full advantage of the man that just vacated. That's in large part Ben Chand's way when he's facing these overs within the power play. Maybe grab yourself a boundary, but then rotate the strike quickly. Get everybody comfortable with the feeling of bat on ball. Thus far, it's served Zakiel pretty well. First ball of the over for the Afghani international. Work to the offside. Good diving stop there by Sohan Bhatt. One small bit of confusion potentially here. We're thankful for the difference in hat selection between Sohan Bhatt and Shivam Mishra, given that they are both wearing number 26 today. Fourth ball, the over, and Zakiel goes directly over the head of Joshi and has that one on the fly. One bounce up against the sight screen, but it was already out for a 6. Second maximum of the innings for Zakiel, second maximum of the over for the Silicon Valley Strikers, living up to their name, striking quite hard right out of the gate. Zakiel, despite generally having faced only a couple of balls each over, has gone to the boundary rope either on the fly or on a hop in each of the first 4 overs. A 4, a 6, a 4, and another 6. Good comeback there from Joshi a moment ago, though. The ball coming through, pulling his length back a little bit, pops up a bit on Zakiel. Unable to work that one away quite the same way. 1 ball left in the 4th over. And here it comes. Another swing and a miss. That's going to scoot by the wicketkeeper, though. Quick recognition from Chand and Zakiel. Khan there to take care of it, but it'll be a bye to finish off the over. 14 from it, 39 for no loss as we go to the 5th.
1, 2, 3.
change of bowling at the San Pedro end as the captain has tapped himself. It'll be Sami Aslam. Our first introduction of spin on the day. He'll be going up against Zakiel, who got off strike with the bye to end the last over. Aslam bringing some right arm off spin. So we can expect this to be kicking away slightly from Zakiel as he comes around the wicket. That one knocked into the turf. Sami Aslam, the 26-year-old Pakistani captain of the Golden State Grizzlies. His second ball worked into the onside square leg area. Zakiel will run a single. So far on the season, this is the 8th over for Sami Aslam. 1 wicket taken for 56 runs conceded. This is just the 2nd over that he's bowled inside the power play as he moves around a few fielders. Protection at the boundary against Chand now is at square leg and at long on. Good length there. Chand forced to just bang it into the ground and towards the man at long on. Plenty of room as Zakiel will track that down. Continues to rotate the strike. 2 so far from the over. Zakiel picks this one up towards the man at deep mid-wicket, and backpedaling and watching it fly away out there will be Zia Shahzad. Another 6 for Zakiel, who continues to strike with authority. We told you the last over, he's had a boundary in every single over so far today, and he is off to a flyer. 29 off 15, striking at nearly 200. Ball's been fetched. Here's another one, and that one again, better line. Good comeback delivery. They'll try and take the quick single. Might have been in trouble with a direct hit. Overthrow backed up as Adil tried to put that strong right arm into use as a fielding weapon. It'll just be the single there, though, for Zakiel. Chand will face the final ball of the 5th. Coming over the wicket to the right-hander. That one into the turf over to point, and that'll be all she wrote for this over. But another 9 from it. It continues to be a very productive power play. 1 over left in it, 48 for no loss.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Wait.
And Zakiel is feeling himself in his first action on Californian soil here in Toyota Minor League Cricket. Another 4 runs for him. He's going at 34 off 17. Joshi thus far has been expensive. Joshi on the season, 84 runs conceded in his 10.5 overs coming into action today. Zakiel cuts that one, gets a thick outside edge, and that'll be another 4 down to fine leg. Just a little bit too rapid, excuse me, third man rather, a little bit too rapid for Shahzad out here at the boundary. Azam rather. Consecutive boundaries to start the 6th over, taking full advantage of the fielding restrictions while they last. Protection in the deep now at deep mid-wicket, and Azam still at a relatively wide third man position. Zakiel's edge just fine enough, moving around at the crease, thinking about a little bit of invention. Instead, good line from Joshi, and that's tapped to mid-wicket. Quick single, and he'll give Chand a chance. So again, the changes here. They have taken out that man that used to be at deep, fine leg against Chand. They're keeping the third man. That's Shivam Mishra. Also got a man at the square leg boundary. 4th delivery of the over coming here for Ruchir Joshi, who has bowled half the power play. That is all for Unmuk Chand. My view blocked for a moment by the body of the wicketkeeper Karan Chandel, but the body language from Chand is all you need to see. Clean bowled here, and that'll be the end of the day for the captain. That will bring out one of the most informed batsmen in the league. We'll tell you about him when we come back here from the Morgan Hill Outdoor Sports Complex. But at 57 for 1, Golden State has struck for the first time. New batsman at the crease is Shehan Jayasuriya, the Sri Lankan, who, as we told you just before the break, has been one of the hottest batters in the entirety of the league. Currently the league leader in runs scored, but it's been the way he's been going about it that's been so impressive. And he's taken an attacking hack at the very first delivery that he faces from Joshi. Worked over to mid-off. Will be a pair of left-handed batters at the crease for Silicon Valley Strikers. Jayasuriya off the mark now. Chand's final figures, 17 off of 15 balls, 1-4, 1-6. We mentioned somebody who generally helps build the platform in the early going, but has not been striking at a particularly high rate in the power play. Jayasuriya, by contrast, striking at a high rate pretty much wherever you put him. Final ball of the over to Zakiel, worked back to backward point. Quickly on it is Sohan Bhatt, and that'll do it for the power play. Fielding restrictions about to be lifted through the end of the power play. 58 for 1 for Silicon Valley Strikers.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Five men in the deep, and certainly I would imagine Sammy Aslam would say, and not a moment too soon, given the two men at the crease. Shahan Jayasuriya taking care of dumping the first one into the vacant mid-wicket area. That'll be a run to start the seventh. But Jayasuriya, the 30-year-old lefty from Sri Lanka, 450 runs to lead everyone in minor league cricket. He's also got 49 fours on the season. That's 16 more than anybody else in the league. He's also got the best average among those who have been dismissed this season at 89 runs per wicket. That one pushed to long off by Zahid Zakiel. Strike continues to rotate. For Jayasuriya, he is now on a streak of 4 consecutive half-century or better scores, 2 of which he converted into tons. That one looped over the head of one of the few men inside the circle now. Back to square leg, a nice little sweep shot for his first boundary. And as we told you, Jayasuriya leading the entire league in that particular stat. That is number 50 on the season for him. I believe we have some word from the umpires that anybody in a white shirt needs to move off to the side, lest you make it difficult for Jayasuriya or Zakiel to spot the white ball. Pushed back to the bowler. First dot of the over. Our umpires, by the way, in the name of having the full personnel out here for you, Ravi Shankar Barapagowda and Suyog Patil. Jayasuriya will push that one over to square leg. Little flick from off the pads as Aslam looks to crowd him a little bit. Another single for him, 6 off of 4 balls faced. Final one destined for Zahid Zakiel and his red Afghanistan helmet over at the other side. Hopefully not actually off the helmet. Cramped nicely, good length there from Aslam, but a quick single, putting that into the mid-wicket area. It's a pretty tidy over from Aslam, just the one boundary off of it. 8 runs from it, 66 for 1.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Eighth over underway, coming around the wicket is Ruchir Joshi, who is going to bowl all 4 of his his overs rather, up front. First delivery to Zakiel, worked to the offside for a quick single, and Dot balls have been hard to come by here, and that goes for today. That goes for pretty much this entire season against the Silicon Valley Strikers. We're getting on the air pretty quickly and neglected to mention the fact that they lost the toss today, but were put into bat. This will be the 7th time in 8 games that they have been the team batting first, as Jayasuriya flicks that to the man at square leg. Another single there. They have topped out at 218 runs, which they tallied up 8 days ago here against San Diego. They've been averaging 194. It's kind of funny if you look at the stats here at Morgan Hill. Look at the first innings average. You would think that it's gone way up over the course of the last couple seasons. It was about a 120 par score here in the first innings at the beginning of the year. That one is drilled to mid-wicket. And that's just going to be Shivam Mishra's job to chase that one and go find it. Luckily, unlike Texas, no underbrush to go hunting around for the ball in. Even got fences here to stop it if you hit it to the right place. But Zahid Zakiel continues to pepper the boundary. That is Zakiel's 4th 6. And it went by without notice, but the 7th over was the first over of the match in which he did not hit a ball to the boundary. He's gone about fixing that in a hurry here in the 8th. And it is worth noting, this is a period of the match where Silicon Valley Strikers will have a feeling that they can really exert their will. We'll tell you a little bit about what they and the Grizzlies have done in this phase. As that is looped over to the right side, it's going to split the fielders, but able to chase that down is Hamad Azam at backward square leg. It'll be a pair of runs, and the Silicon Valley Striker dugout still very, very happy about it. They're celebrating that one particularly because it is a 25-ball half century for Zahid Zakiel, which is bound to happen when you're hitting boundaries at this rate. But congratulations to him, his first 50 here in Toyota minor league cricket. Continues to torture Ruchir Joshi. A little bit of a mix-up there nearly. A clean pickup from Sohan Bhatt might well have led to some trouble. Zakiel sending Jayasuriya back. A dot ball there as Zakiel has faced most of the deliveries here of this 8th over. But we were starting to tell you, this Silicon Valley Strikers club currently averaging a little better than a run and a half per ball during the middle overs between number 7 and number 15. And going at an average of 48 runs per wicket, and it gets crazier over their last 4 matches. They have only lost a wicket twice in the middle overs over the last 2 matches. These long, long partnerships between the likes of Chand and Jayasuriya. There's another ball worked through the man at backward square, and Zakiel wanted a second, but a good strong throw from the outfield will prevent that. We'll tell you a little more about the Strikers' dominance and what the Grizzlies will be trying to do in order to resist. But we go to the 9th over here, 77 for 1. Sami Aslam stays on here from the San Pedro end for a 3rd consecutive over of work. He took the 5th over back in the power play and has bowled the last, what's soon to be 3 from this end. First delivery working in on the pad. Zakiel will turn that away to mid-wicket. Easy single as he continues to accumulate runs, now sitting on 52 from the 28 he's faced. We're starting to tell you about these middle overs here. Just the 2 wickets lost in the 10th over, 83 for 1 at this point. Another solid start to an innings for a team in Silicon Valley that have been so very effective with bat in hand this season. The interesting thing to see later on today will be whether their bowling can recover from getting bashed around a bit last weekend against the likes of San Diego and East Bay. But for the time being, looking to put a target way up in the stratosphere and make things challenging for the Grizzlies when they come to bat in a little while. And there's Jayasuriya looking to do that. Nobody out there except for, I think, one of his teammates and the folks playing an all-whites match over on the other side. That's a 6 for Jayasuriya to start this and to greet Shehryar Khan. First look at the right-arm medium pacer, 36-year-old out of Pakistan. 5 wickets on the season, but an economy of 9.34, and that 6 is not going to help that number one bit. A little surprising to see Khan working at this point in the match, given that his 2/3 of his overs this season have been inside the power play. That one worked off the pads. Jayasuriya thought about a second, sends back Zakiel. Quick single, and just like that, 7 off the over so far. Now, unlike what we saw with Unmuk Chand, for example, pretty much all the protection with Zakiel and Jayasuriya up here is being placed out in front of them and off to their sides. Nothing really behind as Zakiel pushes that one to the man long on. Another single there. Khan, for the most part, has just had an issue with the ball leaving the yard against him. He doesn't tend to give away free runs, just 6 extras on the season. But 70% of the runs he's conceded have come off boundaries. Jayasuriya looking to beat the man at long on, has a long run to get there, diving play and snares it, coming back for 2. The throw is not going to beat Zakiel down at the non-striker's end. A pair of runs there for Shahan Jayasuriya, who is looking to get off to a solid start here. 19 off the first 12 balls he's faced. He'll face the 5th one here from Shehryar Khan as well. Worked off the pads, a quick shout from Khan, who thought perhaps that might have beaten him. And indeed, he did beat Jayasuriya for pace on that one. Got it to the pads, but outside the line of leg stumps. So a leg bye for the big man in blue, and Zakiel will face the final delivery of the over. A swing and a bit of a mishit there. That's going to find its way back to short third man. No real harm, just a single to finish off the over. Another 12 from it, and 95 for 1 as we reach the halfway point here at Morgan Hill.
1, 2, 3.
New bowler at the Barrett Avenue end will be Zia Shahzad. And a reminder here that if you want to keep up with the bowling changes and all of the live scoring work being done here on the Crick Club's app that's populating the bottom of your screen, you can do that when you're away from the computer as well by visiting Minor League Cricket's social media channels or www.minorleaguecricket.com for more info. On YouTube, that's the MLC Network. You already know that. You're here. At Twitter, it's at MIL Cricket, as Zakiel has drilled this one to the boundary. Will it stay in play? No. Ihsan Adil watches that one go just over his head, and a rude greeting as well for the new bowler, Zia Shahzad. For a moment there, Adil trying to park his heels just inside the boundary rope, hoping to make good use of his large frame to get to that, but Zakiel has got himself yet another maximum. That is his 5th. And that one coming in on the pads. An appeal from Shahzad. Looked from here like it might have been going down leg, and nothing given. That maximum brings up the 100 for Silicon Valley Strikers. 1 ball into the second half of their innings. On pace for, well, what they've been doing so far this entire season in the middle overs. $53 runs so far in just over 4 overs since the power play ended. That one worked back behind point. Good work from the boundary rider at the point boundary. Restricts that to a single for Zahid Zakiel. Starting to tell you, though, where to find us. It's at MILC USA on Facebook and Instagram, at MIL Cricket on Twitter. And, of course, make sure to pound the subscribe button here on YouTube. What a delicate, gorgeous shot from Jayasuriya. A cut to extremely fine third man. Finds its way to the boundary, second of the over, 11 so far off of Zia Shahzad. And a rude greeting for him. Zia so far on the season, an economy of 6. He's done good work in the middle overs. He's generally gotten tattooed at the beginning and end of innings. This is looking a little more like those other ones. Nice sliding play at the boundary by Sohan Bhatt, though, and that will save 3 runs easily. Jayasuriya cut that one beautifully away towards extra cover. Zakiel turning and firing. That is going to be watched over the boundary yet again. Sohan Bhatt can only go chase. 6 more runs on the board, 2 maximums in the over from Zahid Zakiel, who continues to fire on all cylinders. $112 for 1 as we go to the 12th.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome back to the 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, fueled by Sunoco. 11 overs gone, and the Silicon Valley Strikers, as Jayasuriya singles off the first ball out to long on pace right now for 206 runs off of this innings, which wouldn't even be their most impressive score in the last fortnight. As we told you, they have absolutely been firing all cylinders, Toyota Tundra style. Haven't done enough shopping. Anybody know how many cylinders the Tundra has? This team so far has only needed 3. Unmuk Chand A little bit of a circumspect 17 off 15 to start. He was cut down just before the end of the power play, but Jayasuriya and Zakiel absolutely firing. That one pushed square of the wicket. Pair of singles to start this over off of Shehryar Khan. Khan, like Zia Muhammad Shahzad, was greeted very rudely in his first over of work. A 6 off the bat of Jayasuriya. Since then, 3 singles in that over, 2 in this one, and a quickly run 2. Trying to keep Silicon Valley from getting away from them right now are the Golden State Grizzlies. Jayasuriya pushes that one toward the long on boundary. Zakiel was thinking about a second, but Jayasuriya was sauntering his way back into the crease at the non-striker's end. 3 singles to start. .70 off 37. Zakiel from the very get-go firing at about a strike rate of 200, and he's managed to maintain that pretty consistently through the entire duration of this innings. Making a strong argument to be the opening batsman going forward, trying to split the fielders over at the back 45. It will just be another single. Ehsan Adil getting to that after it had scooted by Hamad Azam. That'll put Shahan back on strike. 26 off 17 so far for him. That one pushed to the side of Shehryar Khan, as you were. This match, of course, an important one for the playoff race, which is already developing a 4-headed monster here in the Western Division. All 3 Bay Area teams, as well as the Seattle Thunderbolts involved. We'll give you a sense of that in the 13th. Final ball coming up here of the 12th. Shahan to face it. Delicate nudge back to third man, and that'll be another single. 5 from the over, 118 for 1. 8 overs left here in this first innings.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Zia Shahzad stays on from the Barrett Avenue end. First delivery, nicely bowled. Jayasuriya unable to do anything with it. It'll be a dot to get things started here in the 13th. Starting to tell you a little bit about this playoff race that's developing. Silicon Valley Strikers, of course, 7-0, sitting at the top of that. Seattle, though, with their victory earlier today, are now 6-1. That one lifted toward mid-wicket, and again over the top of Ehsan Adil. There have been a handful of these that have just barely had the juice to get over, but it's another maximum. Second of the day for Shahan Jayasuriya, who moves up to 33 so far from the 21 deliveries he's faced. We're mentioning Seattle now 6-1 after their victory earlier today over SoCal Lashings. East Bay took care of business, sweeping a pair against San Diego. Yesterday's game was a little bit sweat out. They won by 5 runs. Today, a bit less so. Big swing and feathered edge straight into the turf. Another dot ball here against Jayasuriya. Yesterday, Blazers outlasted the Surf Riders after putting up 196. conceded 191 and a 110 not out from Greg Hay. Two lengthy partnerships in that innings, 99 for the second wicket with Iftikhar Ahmed and 91 for the third with Zakiel. It turned out at the end of the day not to be enough. They fall 5 runs short in East Bay after the much more convincing victory earlier today, a single off that ball meanwhile for Jayasuriya. So the Blazers sit now at 6-3. They've played a couple more games than the other clubs here. They have finished 9. That one, an appeal, looking for the edge. Karan Chandel certainly thinks he heard a sound as Zakiel offered at that one. But the umpire is unmoved. A dot ball, but no joy for Golden State. Grizzlies thought they had it. As we mentioned beforehand, in these middle overs, Silicon Valley now working on almost 5 innings in which they have lost a total of 2 wickets between overs number 7 and 15. Getting a look at it ourselves right now on the replay, and that was awfully close to the bat, and they'll pay for it potentially immediately. That one, though, does not have the legs to get out. Circling over to it is Sohan Bhatt, and he will restrict Zahid Zakiel to a single on that one. And that'll bring the over to a close. 8 from it, 126 for 1.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Presenting sponsor of Toyota Minor League Cricket here in 2022. We encourage you as well to check out our official sponsor, DAFA News, where you can keep up with all these high scores, all of these big totals, and of course the records and the playoff race that is developing. We were telling you before the last break, as we take a moment for drinks and an equipment check, it would appear. Perhaps a check on the condition of Shahan Jayasuriya. No, he seems to be all right. But we were starting to tell you beforehand about what's been going on this weekend. The Blazers, as we said, outlasting Surf Riders yesterday. Today, no problem whatsoever. In today's match, they managed to restrict San Diego to just 88 runs, despite batting out all 20 overs. 88 for 8, the final result. For them, Hay with 45 not out today, but nobody else on the team scored more than 10. And East Bay, no trouble taking care of that. They get it done with more than half of their balls remaining, winning by 9 wickets, putting up 89 for 1 behind a 52 not out for Mark Dayal. Lost an early wicket to David White, who had gone 88 not out the day before. But no problem there. That one in the air, that is a chance, and it is taken at long on. That is the end of the day for Zahid Zakiel. Perhaps the brief pause to check on Shahan Jayasuriya, just interrupting the rhythm he had built up. But that will be it for Zakiel, 72 off the 41 balls faced. A heck of a knock, likely to be featured on DAFA News later on this evening. That is all for him, 126 for 2. The new batsman for the Silicon Valley Strikers will be Raymond Reefer, who has had one heck of a start to his minor league cricket career so far on the season. The 31-year-old from Barbados, sitting on 105 total runs, a high score of 45 and an average of 52.5. He's been not out once so far in his 3 innings, and the strike rate is definitely a study in contrast. 172 for the season thus far in those 3 innings, but it is nearly twice as high against pace as it is against spin. So look for him here specifically to target Shehryar Khan while he's got a chance at him. Zia Shahzad coming at the moment from the other end. They've been bowling exclusively spin from the Barrett Avenue end for, well, a good while. This is the 3rd over for Shehryar Khan here, and he's gotten the breakthrough. Picking up his 6th wicket of 2022 minor league cricket. First delivery, good line there, good length too. Forced to smother it is Reefer. That'll be a single to start. Set a Reefer, a Bajan, like his teammate Roshan Primus. Comes from a very rich cricket playing family. That one nicely bowled. Jayasuriya caught in 2 minds, eventually decides to leave it, leaving Khan with his hands on his head. Shehryar so far pretty effective. He had a bit of trouble right out of the gate with the 6 against Zakiel, but since then has not conceded a boundary. A wicket, a 1 on a Yorker, and a dot to start this over. Reefer, the cousin of former West Indies Test match captain Floyd. That is roped over to backward square by Reefer. Excuse me, Jayasuriya rather. The deal has that tracked, it'll just be a single. Reefer, in fact, was a wild card replacement for Muhammad Irfan Jr., who was part of the first 2 matches of the season way back in the last weekend of June. Irfan, a fun stat, by the way, the multi-year player over in the Pakistan Super League is in all likelihood going to end the minor league cricket season with the best strike rate, and I mean from the batting side, despite him being largely a bowler and a very far down order batsman. That one tapped aerial for a moment, but does get down to the man at long off. Single for Reefer. But the man Reefer replaced, Muhammad Irfan Jr., batted once this season, had 20 runs on 4 deliveries, a strike rate of 500. And I have a hard time believing anyone's going to top that unless they show up for 1 ball, hit it for 6, and then say bye. You hear about retired hurt all the time. Maybe that would be just retired satisfied. Jayasuriya turning that one back to backward square. A deal over to it again as it's scooted by the man at the shorter position, Hamad Azam. Another single to finish that off. 4 off the over, but also the wicket. 130 for 2 here with 6 overs to the finish.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
First ball of the 15th. Smack to the boundary off of Zia Shahzad. Jayasuriya continues his work with the sledgehammer and has now worked his way to 40 off 27. going hard again. This one is not going to hang up for Sohan Bhatt at mid-wicket. It'll be a single. That's so far here at 135 for 2, a Silicon Valley Strikers innings fueled by a 69-run partnership between Zakiel and Shahan Jayasuriya. Now Raymond Reefer looking to kick on as well and aid in putting this total as far out of reach as possible. That one, though, smothered at the base of the stumps. A dot ball. Thus far, Reefer 2 runs off the 3 he's faced. Here comes Shahzad. Looking for the sweep. Looks like he might have missed that. An appeal for leg before. There it is. Took his time, did the umpire, up at the bowler stumps, but that is a dismissal. LBW, shortest afternoon so far for Raymond Reefer. And he will go with just 2 runs off of 4 balls. We'll be right back to tell you about the man that will take his place, but at 135 for 3, Golden State looking to work their way back in. Roshan Primus, the new batsman at the crease, as Zia Shahzad continues to work from the San Pedro end of the ground. This his 3rd over of work. We mentioned beforehand that Golden State Grizzlies, not a team that's taken a lot of wickets in the middle overs. Silicon Valley Strikers, a team that has barely been losing wickets at all, especially over the last 4 games in the middle overs. That's changed a little bit here in number 14 and 15. First ball to Primus is a bit of a miss hit. No damage on that one, but no run either. Primus looking for his first big score in a while. He's been stranded in the teens and the single figures for the last 5 matches that he's come into bat. His high score on the season, a 26 off 10 against the Hollywood Master Blasters on opening day. Final ball of the over, worked off of his pads to the onside. First right-handed batsman we've had here in a while, forces a reversal of all the field positions in the brain of your commentator. But that will do it for the 15th. We're headed for the death overs, 136 for 3.
1, 2, 3.
I'd like to take a moment to thank official team sponsor of the Silicon Valley Strikers, Lakshmi. The advertisements for the extra long basmati rice get me hungry every time I watch one of these. And so I hope they've been doing the same for you. Support them, support the Silicon Valley Strikers while you're at it. And the 2022 campaign of Toyota Minor League Cricket brought to you by Sunoco. It's going to be Shehryar Khan continuing on for his final over of work as we get the death overs underway. And this is where the Silicon Valley Strikers have shined. A little bit of a pullback here these last 2 overs as they've gone for 4 runs and 6 runs respectively. And a pair of wickets taken. Roshan Primus trying to work one through the man over on at mid-off rather. Sami Aslam, good diving play there to restrict that to nothing. Dot ball to start, but just 10 off the last 2 and 2 wickets. This is the part here where you've got a little bit of a irresistible force, immovable object situation brewing between these two. The Strikers have been scoring at better than 2 runs a ball in the death overs, the final 5 of an innings, and there's Primus trying to get that started, and he's kick-started it the best way he knows how. A cover drive, smooth and hard as you like. Straight to the boundary, his first 4 of his innings. As we mentioned, Primus looking to kick on a little bit. 26 runs in his first outing of the season against the Hollywood Master Blasters, but since then, just 22 more runs added to his season total. But his specialty has been kicking on at the death. A 204 strike rate in the death overs. Jayasuriya over at the other end. At the non-strikers end at the moment, a 202 strike rate in the death overs. And if you get one of them out, it really is out of the frying pan into the fire because you have Gary Graham behind that, and he's striking at 260 in the death overs right now. That one's going to be down the leg side, and it looks like it's gotten by everyone. That will be 5 wides from Shehryar Khan. And as tight as he'd been bowling for the last couple of overs, those last 2 are the exact opposite of what he wants. A 4 followed by a boundary of his own making. Now the Grizzlies, for their part, have been making up for their issues with taking wickets in the middle overs by doing a whole heck of a lot in the death overs. He's got a 9.1, sorry, the Grizzlies as a group have a 9.1 run per wicket average in the final 5 overs of the innings. That is the best mark for any phase of play in the Western Division. Targeting the stumps there, Primus able to work that right back past the bowler. Easy single to the man at long on. 10 so far from the over, 5 off the bat, 5 through the hands of Chandel. And so far, this is well, this has been the story all season long for Silicon Valley. One to particularly look out for, and he's still got 2 overs left, will be Ehsan Adil. Quite likely that we'll see him for the 17th and the 19th. He's bowled 11 overs so far this season at the death and is going at 6 for 79. The economy is a little bit higher than he'd like, but the wicket-taking rate is right on point. 1 every 11 balls. Comes a delivery, another one down the leg side, and another one that's gotten by Chandel. This one's not going to make it all the way to the boundary. Chased down by Ruchir Joshi here. At fine leg, but it'll be 2 wides. And in an innings where up until now we had just a single wide delivery, the only extra provided by the Golden State Grizzlies bowlers was a wide way back in the second over from Ruchir Joshi. All of a sudden, 7 bonus runs here. Be Primus on strike. Pushes that one to the vacant mid-wicket area for another single. 13 off the over and 2 more balls left here in Shehryar Khan's spell for today's match. Jayasuriya awaiting the next delivery here. A rough start to the death overs for Golden State, and it looks like it's only getting rougher. That one has got the sound of a Shohei Ohtani blast into right field. Shehan Jayasuriya leaving no doubt about that one. Another maximum for him. That's his 3rd to go along with 3 4s and puts him now at 47, creeping up on a 5th consecutive half century if he can get there. Jayasuriya is someone who's represented Sri Lanka 30 times in the course of ODIs and T20 internationals. In fact, did so as recently as March 2020, the very last international fixtures being played right before COVID hit. Shahan Jayasuriya was a part of those. He awaits the final ball of what has been an incredibly expensive over. That one is to the side of Sohan Bhatt. He and Primus will take a quick single to finish. Just one dot ball, 7 extras off the over. It is 156 for 3, 20 runs off the over, and a heck of a start to the death overs.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Sammy Aslam on to bowl here from the San Pedro area, pulled towards the square. Will clinch, from the ball rather. The over has just begun. A little bit of a surprise here to see Sammy Aslam bowling himself in this moment. This will be just the second over he's bowled all season inside the final 5. And, usually first, third, 17th, 19th has been Ehsan Adil's tendency, but appears they're going to look at him for the 18th and the 20th. That one scorched right back at Sammy Aslam, flags it down with his right hand, and has he's going to need a moment to recover from that. Looks like it got the meaty part of the hand, you hope. Roshan Primus, a man who is at least 35% shoulders, getting everything behind that. Driven towards the man at long on, and it's just a little bit too fine for the fielder Zia Mohammad Shahzad to get to it. That'll be a 4 for Roshan Primus, and it just keeps ticking over here for Silicon Valley. We mentioned the question was going to be which tendency won out. This is where Primus loves to swing away. You got a good platform, 7 wickets in hand. So he pushes that one to long on. A single, 6 so far from the over off the first 3 balls. With Jayasuriya coming up, a quick switch of positions. Shahryar Khan goes to long off, and Zia Mohammad Shahzad to long on. Jayasuriya gives himself some space. That one's going to be held by the park and caught at the point boundary, and that will be all she wrote for Shahan Jayasuriya. And so another wicket falling here, the 4th of the innings, 161 for 4. But as we mentioned, you're going to have 2 of the biggest hitters in the entire league at either end of the crease when we come back here for the last bit of the death overs. We'll be right back. It's Gary time in Morgan Hill. Gary Graham striding to the crease opposite Roshan Primus. And we mentioned beforehand, Gary Graham on the season, a strike rate of 212. He's gotten his 70 runs in just 33 balls, 7 fours, 5 sixes. It does give you at least an indication, though, of why Sami Aslam might have been in. Taking a look at the spin-pace splits for Roshan Primus, definitely an advantage here. Primus striking at 231 against pace, 124 against spin. And so you might like that as Primus puts this one in the air, but not for long enough on a hop to Zia Shahzad at long on. A single for Primus as they crossed while Jayasuriya's ball was in the air. This will be the first ball to be faced by Gary Graham, but maybe a decision to bowl himself here by Sami Aslam, looking at trying to limit what he was getting out of that. By my records, I had that as the 5th delivery of the over. Was I incorrect? Perhaps. It appears the over has come to a close. My mistake. 163 for 4.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
From the Baron to bowl his 3rd over of the contest. You imagine he will probably also take the 20th. It'll be interesting to see here. I think Sami Aslam, take a look at my statistics here. Aslam at this point has bowled out his 4, so perhaps Zia Shahzad will be getting it done from this end. Sharyar Khan also done with his 4 overs for the day. Right now it's a deal to Primus. And Primus, who has absolutely been murdering pace bowling, gets started in very much that vein, splits the fielders at long on and deep mid wicket, and that's a 4 to get things rolling. I was mentioning, though, just before we went to that break between overs, that Gary Graham, the 39-year-old Jamaican, he does not care what you bowl at him. His strike rate on the season, 212. Against spin, 210. Against pace, 213. Tough to strategize around him. Fielding placements are easy, though. He'll be looking to pull just about everything. Primus so far, though, yet to let him get a taste. Here comes the next ball to Roshan. That one tapped just to the side of the bowler. They will stay put, though. And Graham will continue to wait. Primus in excellent form down in Barbados coming into this tournament. Has been dealing with a little bit of a hamstring issue. Perhaps something that conditioned the decision not to try to take that quick single and get Graham on strike. Then again, you'd imagine if they're going to bowl spin next over, maybe the game plan is let Roshan do what he can here. Turn it over to Gary to deal with Zia Shahzad in the 19th. That one's stroked to backward square leg, and that is going to just get over the outstretched hand of the fielder there, Sharyar Khan. Another 4 for Primus so far. Whatever strike farming decision they have is making all kinds of sense. 8 from the over so far for Roshan. Very much Primus's method, too. He gets pretty much all of his runs courtesy of boundaries so far this season against pace bowling. 92% of his runs coming in. Extends the hands, trying to split the fielders on the offside, and that is going to get over the rope again. A 6 here for Roshan Primus. That is his 2nd maximum. And a costly first over here for Ehsan Adil in the death. We did mention at the outset that Adil's thing largely in the death overs is not necessarily keeping his economy very low. He's hasn't been hemorrhaging runs in the death overs. Just 7.2 for that economy, but it's his strike rate that goes absolutely crazy, averaging a wicket every 11 balls. And for the sake of the eventual target, the Grizzlies could desperately use one of those right about now. Manages to tie Primus to the crease there, forced to defend that to the right side. That's going to give Gary Graham one ball to face here in the 18th. Gary Graham, if there's anything we've learned so far from watching him, it's that pitch it up as wide as you like, it's still going to the onside. We'll see if he makes a liar out of me here, but in baseball terms, he is what you would call a pull hitter, par excellence. Ehsan Adil getting his field the way he wants it. Protection at long on, square leg, and mid wicket. Here's a first ball to Gary Graham. Gets a piece of that, and it's tipped straight back through to Karan Chandel, edged and gone. Gary Graham's stay at the crease lasts all of one ball. An awful lot of build-up for, well, not the most impressive innings there, but that is what Ehsan Adil does. Fantastic line and length on that one, tied Gary in a knot, and only able to get the slightest of edges to it. That's going to do it for the 18th over, 178 for 5. We'll tell you who's new to the crease to partner up with Roshan Primus for the final 2 overs right after this.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
A reminder, Lakshmi extra long basmati rice, official sponsor of the Silicon Valley Strikers team here, the defending champions of minor league cricket, have put up one heck of a total already at 178 for 5. They've got 2 overs to try to blast that to the stratospheric heights they've been flirting with as of late. A bit of a misfield in the deep. Primus and Surrey looking to take a second. Direct hit would have had him dead to rights at the non-striker's end. But it will be a quick 2 taken, and Roshan Primus will retain the strike. Pranay Surrey, the man out at the non-striker's end now for Silicon Valley Strikers. And a correction on our part, you all saw it better than we did. The Gary Graham wicket was a clean bowled, a bail trimmer that was then caught by Karan Chandel one-handed. That is another ball just absolutely scorched by Roshan Primus just behind square leg, and another 4 for him. Just like that into the mid-180s. The Grizzlies this season have not scored at the rate that they did last year. They're going to need to try and pull this down any way they can, and bowling spin to Roshan Primus usually among the ways of going about that, but thus far he's looking pretty good. This will be Zia Shahzad's final over of work. 1 wicket, but an expensive 38 runs for Shahzad so far today. Hardly anyone's been particularly economical for them. Big rip by Roshan Primus, trying to split the fielders on the onside. That's going to hang up in the outfield, though, and be chased down. Another pair of runs for the Strikers. 8 so far off the first 3 deliveries of the 19th. Looking down the list, Adil 32 runs off of his 3 overs, albeit with the 1 wicket. Ruchir Joshi took his first wicket of the season, but he's gone for 43 off his 4. Khan 39 off of his 4. Aslam, the only one that's kept it anywhere near a run a ball. That is right back over the head of Zia Shahzad. Duck. And off the Toyota sponsorship sign here, straight down the field. 2-4-2-4. Roshan Primus doing damage. That puts them into the 190s now. Primus with a quick fire 39 off 19 with 6 fours. And that one is scalded right at Semi Aslam and gone. And Aslam's going to need a moment there. He already took one off the right hand when he was bowling and a ball came screaming back at him. That one cut away to the covers. But a solid bit of work from Aslam. Picked him out, did Primus. And that'll be all for him. So as we said, a quick fire 39 off 20. He's done his job. But with that, 190 for 6 with 7 balls left to face. Kulvinder Singh out to face the final ball of the 19th over from Zia Shahzad, 190 for 6 after the dismissal of Primus. And he will push that one to the offside, stay put for a dot, and that's going to do it for the 19th. And we'll take the moment here just to recap the innings for you before we have the final over. So just a reminder of what we've seen so far. Unmukh Chand, an early exit, 17 off 15, a bit circumspect, a pair of boundaries before Ruchir Joshi cleaned him up. Clean bowled for his first wicket of the season. Then it was time for the 69-run partnership between Zahid Zakiel and Shahan Jayasuriya. Zakiel would get all the way up to 72 off of 41, his maiden minor league cricket half-century. Shahan Jayasuriya, who was coming in with 4 consecutive 50s, was stopped just 1 run short of it when Shivam Mishra caught him off of Sami Aslam's bowling. And it's been carnage since then. Raymond Reefer, 2 off of 4 before he was cleaned up LBW off Shahzad. Shahzad also getting Primus a moment ago after his quick fire 39. Gary Graham clean bowled by Ehsan Adil, who will take the ball here for the 20th. And that leaves us with Surrey and Kulvinder Singh at the crease, 190 for 6. Golden State trying to keep this total within reach. And with Surrey and Singh at the crease, not the big hitters of the team, but folks who can still do a little bit of damage. Surrey pushes that one to the vacant mid-wicket region. They will push to try to get 2. Paji on his horse to the non-striker's end. He'll get there. And a 2 to start the over off of Adil. Since the death overs began, we told you that this Golden State Grizzlies team knows how to take wickets in this phase of play. In the last handful of matches dating back to the trip to Texas, they've taken 5, 5, 3, 2, and 7 wickets in their last 5 matches. And so far here, they've got 1 in each of the last 3 overs. Trying to restrain the likes of Primus, Graham, and Jayasuriya from putting this game completely beyond reach. Surrey still on strike. That one's going to get through. Searching for it is Chandel. He's got it. Dot ball on the second. Pranay Surrey on the season, an average of 21.5. Striking at 141, but he does up that to 193 inside the power play. Looking for a little more of that. Picked up 2 off the first ball, nothing off the second. Kulvinder Singh at the other end, if he does having already faced the ball, that was the first ball he's faced this season. Last year, he was the small sample size champion, claiming the best strike rate with the bat in hand of anybody in all of the Pacific Conference, rather, at 267. That one pushed to the onside. Sohan Bat's there. It'll just be a single. And so Singh will face the last, potentially will face the last 3 balls here. Singh with 18 runs last year in his 3 innings. Got them off of just 8 deliveries, though, and his 12 not out, including a 6 that landed in the creek up at Arroyo Park, was the lusty blow that closed out Silicon Valley's playoff berth last year, and you all know how that story ended. Survived a tough run up at down in Austin as the visiting team, won that series 2 out of 3 games behind a monster chase and a 132 not out from Unmuk Chand, and proceeded to knock off, oh, that is lifted and over the boundary rope for a 6. Kulvinder Singh picking up right where he left off. Last season, when, as we told you, he struck at 257 in extremely limited action. Silicon Valley a run away from bringing up the 200. 2 balls left here to come from Ihsan Adil, who has traveled in these 2 overs. Second maximum. He's also given up 2 fours, but he did get a valuable wicket. Big swing and a helicopter miss from Kulvinder Singh. 1 ball left as they look to tick over the odometer 1 more notch. It's the underplayed story last year. If not for that long bomb by Singh, Golden State might have kept Silicon Valley out of the playoffs altogether, but they have yet to figure out how to get around the men in two-tone blue. 0-3 in their history, and they are going to have a mountain to climb to try to get their first victory. One final ball to go in the over, and it's coming from Ihsan Adil. Swiveling around and destroying a ball that would have been a wide over his head, and hitting that for 6. And Silicon Valley will finish up with 205 for the loss of 6 wickets in their innings, and the target is set at 206. Kulvinder Singh, 12 off of 4 balls. And like we told you, 12 off of 5, doing exactly what he did last season in his limited action with the bat. In fact, that's already tied for his minor league cricket career high, and he did it just that quickly. We'll take a break here and be back with you in about 10 minutes to follow Golden State's pursuit of a target of 206. Silicon Valley doing work. We'll be right back here for more of 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, brought to you by Sunoco. Here comes the final delivery of the 3rd. That one lifted in the air. Tracking back is Shivam Mishra. Will he manage to get to it? Not quite. Takes 1 bounce and is to the boundary rope for a 4. Real chance. Barrett Avenue end, and he is greeted rudely by Unmuk Chand, who deposits that one to the square leg boundary. 4th ball, the over, and Zakiel goes directly over the head of Joshi and has that one on the fly. 1 bounce. Zahid Zakiel picks this one up towards the man at deep mid-wicket, and backpedaling and watching it fly away out there will be Zia Shahzad. the season, 84 runs conceded in his 10.5 overs coming into action today. Zakiel cuts that one, gets a thick outside edge, and that'll be another 4. Down. Fourth delivery of the over coming here for Ruchir Joshi, who has bowled half the power play. That is all for Unmuk Chan. My view blocked a streak of 4 consecutive half-century or better scores, 2 of which he converted into tons. That one looped over the head of one of the few men inside the circle now. Back to square leg, a nice little of the last couple seasons. It was about a 120 par score here in the first innings at the beginning of the year. That one is drilled to mid-wicket. And that's just going to be Shivam Mishra. Continues to torture Ruchir Joshi. A little bit of a mix. Continues to torture Ruchir Joshi. A little bit of a mix-up there nearly. A clean pickup from Sohan Bhatt might well have led to some trouble. Zakiel sending Jayasuriya back. A dot ball there as Zakiel has faced most of the deliveries here of this 8th over. But we were starting to tell you, this Silicon Valley Strikers club currently averaging a little better than a 1.5 per ball. Continues to torture Ruchir Joshi. A little bit of a mix-up there nearly on Facebook and Instagram at MIL Cricket on Twitter. And of course, make sure to pound the subscribe button here on YouTube. What a delicate, extra cover. Zakiel turning and firing. That is going to be watched over the boundary yet again. Sohan Bhatt can only go Seattle, though, with their victory earlier today, are now 6-1. That one lifted toward mid-wicket, and again over the top of Ehsan Adil. There had been a hand for David White, who had gone 88 not out the day before. But no problem there. That one in the air, that is a chance, and it is taken at long on. That is the end of the day for Zahid Zakiel. Perhaps the brief... Here comes Shahzad, looking for the sweep. Looks like he might have missed that. An appeal for leg before. There it is. Took his time, did the umpire. The Strikers have been scoring at better than 2 runs a ball in the death overs, the final 5 of an innings. And there's Primus trying to get that started, and he's kick-started it the best way he knows how. A cover drive, smooth and hard as you like. Straight to the boundary here because you have Gary Graham behind that, and he's striking at 260 in the death overs right now. That one's going to be down the leg side, and it looks like it's gotten by everyone. That will be 5 wides from Shehryar Khan. Awaiting the next delivery here. A rough start to the death overs for Golden State, and it looks like it's only getting rougher. That one is to long off, and Zia Muhammad Shahzad to long on. Jayasuriya gives himself some space. That one's going to be held by the park and caught at the point boundary, and that will be all she wrote for Shahan Jayasuriya. Done with his 4 overs for the day. Right now it's Adil to Primus. And Primus, who has absolutely been murdering pace bowling, gets started in very much that vein. Splits the fielders at long on and deep mid. Turn it over to Gary to deal with Zia Shahzad in the 19th. That one's stroked to backward square leg, and that is going to just get over the outstretched hand of the fielder there, Shehryar Khan. Another extends the hands, trying to split the fielders on the offside, and that is going to get over the rope again. Here's a first ball to Gary Graham. Gets a piece of that, and it's tipped straight back through to Karan Chandel, edged end than we did. The Gary Graham wicket was a clean bowled, a bail trimmer that was then caught by Karan Chandel one-handed. That is another ball just absolutely scorched by Roshan Primus just behind square leg, and another. Aslam, the only one that's kept it anywhere near a run a ball. That is right back over the head of Zia Shahzad. Duck. And off the fire, 39 off 19 with 6 fours. And that one is scalded right at Semi Aslam and gone. And Aslam's going to need a moment there. He already took one off the right hand from Unmuk Chand and proceeded to knock off. Oh, that is lifted and over the boundary rope for a 6. Kulvinder Singh picking up right way over, and it's coming from Ehsan Adil. Swiveling around and destroying a ball that would have been a wide over his head. And hitting that for 6.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco. You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Welcome back to the 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. We are getting ready for a run chase of 206 runs, a nasty, far, far away target set by the Silicon Valley Strikers, but it will fall to Sami Aslam and Karan Chandel to get that chase underway. It will fall to Kulvinder Paji Singh. That word meaning big brother for those wondering, an absolutely adored figure in the Silicon Valley locker room. To get things started, Kulvinder Singh, somebody who's been critical to keeping this team afloat in the absence of Saurabh Netravalkar, who has been away on international duty. We'll tell you a little bit about how USA Cricket fared over the past week in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, over the course of this innings. But somebody who does a very good job of hitting dot deliveries, great economy in the power play, doesn't tend to strike for wickets, very much the opposite late on, kind of similar to Ehsan Adil's profile. He'll start off facing Sami Aslam, the captain, from the left side, and a nice line and length. Aslam will let that one go by. It's a leave for the first ball of our second innings. Sami Aslam, the left-handed batsman and captain, 26-year-old from Pakistan, going at a 110 strike rate and a 26.6 average. Another dot to start. Kulvinder Singh keeping the line tight. Now, I was a little surprised. I thought, given the profiles of Aslam and Chandel over at the other end, that we might see a spinner very, very early, perhaps even for the first over. For Silicon Valley Strikers. Just to give you a sense of it, Aslam, as of late, has been having a hard time getting out of the first over. Oh, good bit of swing, but that one is brought straight back up the middle on a dead sprint, and chasing that down will be Pranay Suri at the boundary, and it'll be a single for Sami Aslam. Nearly got a piece of the wicket and a piece of Kulvinder Singh with that first ball struck on the day by Sami. But I was starting to mention, Aslam's had a hard time getting out of the first over the last couple of days. His last few innings haven't even really gotten a chance to get started. Against Mark Dayal, he was gone bowled clean on the fifth delivery of the day after having scored one run. And then he was gone first ball LBW to Devam Srivastava of San Diego Surf Riders a week ago today. And the one thing both of those batsmen had in common, or excuse me, bowlers had in common, is they are spinners. Here comes Kulvinder Singh with that swing. That one through the gate, but no, not through the gate. It was around his legs, so that'll be a wide. Certainly a potential danger with Kulvinder Singh. 1 out of every 7 runs scored against him has been a wide or a no ball. First official delivery to be faced by Karan Chandel. That one's tapped back to the big man. Chandel on the season, a 30 average, 211 runs in 7 innings. Striking at 140, but here's another place where the spin versus pace thing becomes interesting. His strike rate against pace bowlers, 167, against spin, 102. Big swing and a miss. Did he get a piece of that? An appeal going. And the umpires having none of it. They thought that Chandel feathered that one back through to the wicketkeeper Rahul Jariwala. They continue to surround. I don't know if they're trying to ask the square leg umpire, did you hear anything? I know we don't have DRS. Hit me up with some Snicko. Come on now. Gary Graham continuing to express displeasure. It is true, between Graham, Chand, Singh, Suri, you've got a lot of guys that have either served as captains, Reefer for that matter, a test cricketer from the West Indies. A lot of folks who are very comfortable in that role. Officially, it's Unmukt Chand, but That one on a good line and length, and it's just a single, or excuse me, yes, a single run off the bat along with the one wide. 2 for no loss through 1.
1, 2, 3.
The 31-year-old Bajan left-arm pacer Raymond Reefer will be bowling from the San Pedro end here, taking aim at Sami Aslam, who's got 1 run so far in the 3 balls he's faced. Here comes the first delivery, in on the pads, worked away to mid-wicket, perhaps mid-on rather. Roshan Primus up with it. And another single for Sami Aslam, who has, as I started to mention, for the first time in 3 matches, navigated the first over without being gotten. But his issues with swing go back to not just things like strike rate, but specifically the way he's, excuse me, not swing, spin, I meant to say. I've gone back to the way he's been dismissed so far this season. 6 out of 7 innings he has been set down by a spinner. And San Diego, even for their part, did something a little unusual. Zubair Marad, usually their first choice bowler to begin a match, but they used Devam Srivastava, the under-19 spin bowler, to get things started, and he cleaned Sammy up right away. Chandel now the one on strike. Again, good work from Raymond Reefer. Well bowled, good length, good line. Chandel forced to just push it into the ground. Reefer, we mentioned before, the wild card signing to replace Muhammad Irfan Jr. So far on the season, 11 wickets for 161 runs, an economy of just a little under 9. But a strike rate just a hair under 10. For those that are new to cricket statistics of that sort, a strike rate just under 10 means that he takes a wicket roughly every 10 balls he bowls. 3rd best in the league out of those who have had at least 10 overs bowled. A few things being fixed up. We've had some issues with the wind picking up the boundary rope advertising cushions, and so that's being put back into place. Here comes Reefer, though, again, over the wicket to Karan Chandel. That one going down the leg side. I think we heard a impact with the pad. No one goes anywhere. No attempt for an appeal on that one, as we heard the loud, bassy thud. That ball well down the leg side, but avoided becoming a wide as a result of that impact. So far, 1 off the first 3 deliveries, and Silicon Valley Strikers keeping it tight so far in the early part of the power play. Another one up to the hip, looking to take a quick single. The throw's down to the bowler's end. Well over the top, likely was home anyway. A single for Chandel, and he's off the mark. Karan Chandel, for his part, has had double-digit scores the last 3 consecutive games, a 36 against the Chicago Blasters, 40 against the East Bay Blazers, and 12 against San Diego Surf Riders. That coming on the heels of 2 rough games at the beginning of the Texas trip, going for just 5 and 3 against Michigan and Dallas. Chandel so far this year, top 20 in runs, 4s, and 6s hit. Good start to the year for him. He's also done very well in the field, and this is somebody who was in the top 10 in both stumpings and overall dismissals. Leaves the bat out there for a little while, but does not make contact. Ball back through to Jadiwala. Sami Aslam Lets that one go through, a dot ball. And I may have been expecting a little bit of spin up front potentially, but can't argue with the results so far. Just 4 runs off of 11 deliveries. Raymond Reefer about to finish off his first over of work from the San Pedro end. Protection, by the way, it's square leg and third man out on the boundary. Kulvinder Singh patrolling out at the rope. That one up again into the body of Sammy Aslam. He fends it off, but nothing doing there. Just 2 from the over, 4 for no loss through 2.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Third over, Kulvinder Singh continues from the Barrett Avenue end. And again, we like to thank our sponsors, title sponsor, Toyota, showing you all these lovely specs of the Toyota Tundra here every now and again between overs. As the first ball is driven by Karan Chandel, that one over the head of Pranay Suri at long off, and that is over the boundary rope on a hop. First boundary, and certainly here in the third over, Sammy Aslam and Karan Chandel looking to take the shackles off and get a few balls into the outfield and a few balls over that boundary rope, as they have got some serious work to do. The target of 206 already nearing the point of requiring 2 runs a ball. Comes the second ball of the over to Karan Chandel. This one tapped to Gary Graham, gets through him. That's going to roll for a little bit. The misfield is going to allow the Grizzlies to take a somewhat unearned single there. Zakiel on the backup, just the one. That'll bring Sammy Aslam back on strike. Karan Chandel, though, with that gorgeous drive to long off. We get a look at it on our own replays over here. It's gotten this over started in a way that, to put it frankly, the Grizzlies desperately need at this point. That one worked off the pads. It's going to split the fielders and is going to beat the man over at deep square leg. It's Dev Thadani. As a sportscaster, I appreciate the camouflage arm sleeves he often wears out there. Makes him easy to spot, even if I can't see his number. Though to be fair, that's the opposite of what camouflage is supposed to do. 9 so far off the first 3 deliveries, both Chandel and Aslam now with their first boundaries of the afternoon. That one chopped over to the offside. They'll stay put. If you're just joining us, that target of 206 set by Silicon Valley Strikers, courtesy of a big innings from Zahid Zakiel, 72 off 41, including the 69-run partnership with Jayasuriya. That one is drilled, though, and all the way over the rope on the fly. A 6 for Sammy Aslam. And taking a liking to Kulvinder Singh here in this second over of work. The line has been drifting. Singh with a lot of good swing in his first over of work, but the shine comes off that ball in a hurry. Beforehand, it was moving towards the edges. It was moving under his bat. So far here in the second over, it's moving right into his arc. Third boundary of the over, first maximum rather. And a costly second over of work so far for Kulvinder Singh, 15 off of it. One more ball left, again to the captain. That one worked onto the offside, and they will stay put. Karan Chandel will be on strike when we start the fourth, likely against Raymond Reefer. 19 for no loss.
1, 2, 3.
over number 4. 19 for no loss so far after a 15-run over against Kulvinder Singh. 3 boundaries, 2 of them off the bat of Sami Aslam, a 4 and a 6. Looking to bring the chase to life after Reefer and Singh held them to just 4 runs through the first 12 balls. Here comes Raymond Reefer again from the San Pedro end. That one tapped back behind to the offside. And a dot to start for Karan Chandel. We thank official tournament sponsor DAFA News for their coverage of minor league cricket. Head over there to the DAFA News website for all the information you could want about all 26 teams in this tournament. Largest domestic cricket tournament here in the history of the United States. I'm looking forward to the launch next season of the Franchise League Major League Cricket, but for the time being, a coast-to-coast experience here. 2 months working towards a big finale in Morrisville in about 5 or 6 weeks. That one tapped back past Reefer, no run taken there either. Back-to-back dots to start. Today's match, an important one for that playoff race, and I'm going to borrow some work from local stats maven Tom Nielsen to tell you a bit about why it is such an important one. It seems patently obvious. You can sort of get a sense of it based on the past, knowing the rivalry these two teams have already built up over the course of a year and a half. Another dot ball for Reefer. Very tight over so far against Chandel. You can certainly get a sense of it from present when you look at the records. 7-0 for the Strikers, 5-2 for the Grizzlies. Currently sitting in 1st and 4th, with the 2 6-win teams in between, East Bay Blazers and Seattle Thunderbolts. Comes the 4th ball from Reefer. That one tapped to the onside. They will take the quick single. Chand over to snag it. That'll bring Aslam on strike. But Tom Nielsen does some great work with cricket simulations based on the matchups that we have had so far, what we know about the teams, to give you a sense of each team's likelihood of making the postseason. And at the moment, the Strikers seem to be just about a shoo-in at 93%, but the Grizzlies are sitting at about a 32% chance of making the playoffs, Blazers 33, and Seattle Thunderbolts 42. And as we wait here for the next delivery from Reefer, takes the pace off, that one trying to guide it to third man. Singh with a nice dive, they will take the single. 1 ball left and it'll be Karan Chandel's. One of the cool things you can do with simulations, if you're simulating the whole season, then is separate them into piles. And if you look at the sims where Silicon Valley Strikers win this game, the Grizzlies' chance of making the playoffs drops from 32% to 23%. If the Grizzlies win, it jumps to 45%. So, loosely speaking, Grizzlies with a win here could double their likelihood of participating in the playoffs. That one drifting down the leg side. Reefer thinks that there was a piece gotten of it. Apparently that was a flick of the pads on the way through. It is neither a wide, nor a leg by, nor a caught behind. It is just a dot to finish the over. 2 from it, 21 for no loss.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Presenting sponsor Sunoco, we thank them for their contributions to help grow cricket in America as we continue with the second innings here of Grizzlies Strikers, Golden State and Silicon Valley. A chase here that could have major implications to the playoff race. Also major implications to the playoff race going on down at Woodley Park. We had talked a little bit about the East Bay Blazers down in San Diego. Down in Woodley, the Seattle Thunderbolts are getting in a a host of games this weekend against Southern California opposition. Particularly necessary because if you're going to make the trip all the way down from the Pacific Northwest, you may as well get your get all you can eat. Yesterday, they took care of business by beating the Hollywood Master Blasters by 9 wickets with 45 balls left, held them to 114. This morning, a 95-run victory after putting 182 for 5 on the board against the SoCal Lashings, bowled them out with about 3 overs to spare for just 87. But they're currently facing the Hollywood Master Blasters as the first ball of this over coming from Roshan Primus. Has gotten away from the keeper for a wide, and they've taken an extra run to go along with it. That'll bring Karan Chandel back on strike. But Seattle at the moment, after hanging 148 for 7 on Hollywood Master Blasters, are doing a heck of a job of restricting their the Hollywood run rate through the power play. They're now halfway through the 8th over of that match, 38 for 2. And it's starting to get a little bit more challenging. A chase that began with them needing 7.5 runs and over. Hollywood now would have to go at almost 9s from here to the finish in order to throw a monkey wrench into the playoff race. Seattle trying to go for the 3-team sweep. That one worked to the offside by the lefty Chandel. A single. And that'll bring Sami Aslam on strike. Aslam so far a 4 and a 6, both off Kulvinder Singh. That one is going to be another 4. It's past Kulvinder. Starting to take a liking to batting from this side against the bowlers rushing in from the Barrett Avenue end. Third boundary of the day for Sami Aslam, as Golden State look to up the rate a little bit here. Grizzlies so far on the season, generally not scoring particularly quickly in the power play, just 7.1 runs and over. And they're even a little bit behind that pace at the moment. Tap to the offside, nothing doing. Good protection there, Unmuk Chand up with it. Protection against Aslam right now, the standard field. Square leg is deep, so is third man. Srinivas Raghavan back here in our general vicinity, patrolling. Roshan Primus gets a ball in the air. Srinivas Raghavan trying to get around to it. It's going to fall in front of him, and it's got a ton of English on it, and spins away for 4. That one a bit of a mishit from Sami. All of that. If the man at deep a little bit wider, might have had a real chance at, at converting that into a chance. As it stands, ball reaches the boundary. That's 9 so far off the over. 2 balls left. That one in the air, and Kulvinder Singh is just going to watch that fly away. And on top of everything, it's a 6. It is also a no ball. And so we'll have a free hit here for those that might be new to having their lives touched by the grace of cricket. That signal that the umpire had the moment that the ball was released from Primus likely means that it was so that he overstepped. That hand out to the side indicates that he did not keep his landing spot inside the crease line. Free hit. This cannot be a wicket no matter where it lands. And it certainly can't be a wicket when it lands on top of the pavilion where the Golden State Grizzlies are. And this has turned into a very costly over indeed. 4th boundary of it. That one cutting off the free hit. There is still 1 ball left to be bowled as a result of the no ball earlier. We mentioned before that the Golden State Grizzlies were a bit behind that 7 runs per over pace that they've had this season in the power play. Not anymore, they aren't. That one worked over to mid-off. Easily taken there. It'll be a dot to finish, but as we said, a very costly over. 22 from it, 45 for no loss.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
.45 for no loss as we get a look at the over chart, and the Manhattan has got one big skyscraper in it after that massive 24-run over off Roshan Primus, a couple wides, a no ball, and 4 boundaries, 2 of them all the way over the boundary rope on the fly, and that's going to lead to a change in approach. Pranay Suri in for the first over of spin. And we mentioned beforehand, spin has been the bugaboo for these two, who are already almost out to a 50 partnership to open the innings. Now going at 9 runs and over, which astonishingly is still too slow, but a good platform being set at this point by Sami Aslam and Karan Chandel. But as we were mentioning before, a bit of an issue with their ability to keep going this fast against spin. We'll see what happens. Suri helping them out a little bit, as that is going to be 5 wides to begin the over. All the way to the boundary rope, past Rahul Jariwala. Just a misaimed ball for those that might be new to this. Not allowed to bowl it behind their legs, at least not in this version of cricket. Perfectly fine in Test cricket, knock yourself out, but here it's not permitted. Suri coming from around the wicket, pushes that to the mid-wicket area. Roshan Primus over to grab it. That'll be a single to start. Karan Chandel with that single, now moving to 9 off of 15 balls. Sami Aslam has really begun to accelerate, though, the last few overs, particularly the ones bowled from the Barrett Avenue end. Picked up 10 off 4 deliveries, 2 boundaries there against Raymond Reefer, and was responsible for 20 in the last over. Changed the entire complexion of this power play. That ball's going to split the fielders and work its way out to the back 45. Restricted to a single. Aslam makes it 7 so far off the over, 5 courtesy to 5 wides from Suri. But against spin so far this season, we mentioned Sami Aslam has lost his wicket 6 out of 7 times this season to spin. Generally for him, it's kind of boundaries or nothing. Almost 3/4 of his runs against spin have been by virtue of 4s and 6s. Chandel, his strike rate is an entire 66 points lower against spin bowling. As he faces his first one, that in the air could be a chance. Kulvinder Singh takes it, and on command, that is the end of Karan Chandel. Struggling the entire time to really get going, but his first delivery against spin leads to the end of his afternoon. He will trudge back 9 off of 16 balls. We'll tell you who's coming out next when we come back. 52 for 1. The partnership ended just barely clear of the half-century mark. Zia Shahzad, the new man at the crease, although he is presently at the non-striker's end, as Pranay Suri gets ready to take aim at Sami Aslam again. Karan Chandel gone, just 9 runs to his name, unable to really fire. Sammy's been the one doing the heavy lifting so far. 2 more left from the over as that one's tapped to the point region. That one on the ground right back to Suri, and quickly 2 dot balls as Golden State look to rebuild. That one tapped here. They will try to take the quick single. Unmukt Chand to it. That'll be a single to finish the over, but after a costly one for the strikers in the last over, this one costly for the Grizzlies. They lose their opener, just 3 from it. 8 rather, complicit the 5 wides, 53 for 1.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
We thank again Lakshmi Extra Long Basmati Rice, sponsor of the Silicon Valley Strikers, who are bringing championship cricket to you so far, year in, year out, with the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championships here, presented by Sunoco. So far, it's been a slightly up and down power play for the Golden State Grizzlies. They were being held largely in check through a few overs, just got 4 runs off the first 12 balls, but then it was 15 runs, then 2, then 24 runs, then 8 and a wicket. And so at the moment, they stand 5 runs behind the pace that Silicon Valley Strikers had during the first over. Dev Thadani into the attack now for the team in two-tone blue. And Thadani has been an interesting cog in this machine this season. He has not bowled a ton for the Silicon Valley Strikers. Just 11 overs plus a ball. That one being a match in which he came in, bowled exactly 1 ball towards the end, got wicket number 10 and ended the affair. Aslam works the second ball off of him over to the backward point area. Roshan Primus has it. They'll try to come back for 2. Good throw from the deep and a good snag by Thadani to avoid any potential extras. So Sami Aslam with a dot and a 2 to start over number 7. Field restrictions, of course, removed at this point. As we said, through the power play, 5 runs behind the pace. Silicon Valley Strikers were 58 for 1. That is guided beautifully to the side of the wicketkeeper Rahul Jariwala, and Srinath Raghavan is not going to be quite quick enough to cut that off before it reaches the boundary, and Aslam continues to roll. So finishing off our introduction, however, to Dev Thadani, an economy of 7 so far on the season, an average of 13.2 runs per wicket. Both of those numbers, though, come way down in the death overs, so we'll see if they decide to bowl him a little bit in there. He has gotten a wicket and given up just 9 runs in 3 overs at the death so far. That one tapped straight back to Thadani, bump ball. So a dot here. Worth noting here, as Golden State continue to try to build their way into this, the chasing team all-time at Morgan Hill has a slight advantage, 14-11, the record of the team that decides to bat second at this venue. Golden State themselves 5-0 when they've chased, and that is ripped to mid-wicket and going to get over the boundary, roll through the well-manicured grass. Another 4 here on the over, 10 from it so far for Sami Aslam. And Thadani, a bit unusually expensive here in his first over of work. Worth noting as well, Silicon Valley Strikers have a wealth of bowling options to throw at Golden State here as they look to keep this tight. We've already seen Kulvinder Singh, Pranay Suri, Raymond Reefer, Roshan Primus, and Dev Thadani. Srinivas Raghavan, who's currently patrolling the area at third man right now, also an option. That one pushed too long on. That'll be a single to finish this over off. We'll tell you a little bit more about the other possibilities when we come back. 7 overs gone, done, and dusted, and we sit at 64 for 1.
1, 2, 3.
Pranay Suri stays on here from the San Pedro end of the ground. Sami Aslam has faced the last 9 deliveries since the departure of Karan Chandel. And with that single on the final ball of the 7th, he'll face the next one as well, so make it 10 in a row. To match the number on the shirt of the man who is still waiting for his first delivery, Zia Shahzad. Aslam fiddles at that first ball from Pranay Suri. Nothing doing there. Suri with a balanced field behind him for the most part. 5 to the offside, 4 to the on. That one pushed too long off. Jayasuriya up with it. That'll be a single, and Zia Shahzad will get his first chance to take up arms against Pranay Suri and the Golden State attack. Zia Shahzad so far on the season going at exactly a run a ball faced. 80 from 80 in his 7 innings. Going at an average of 11.4. Has struggled so far this year to really switch on and put up the kind of totals he did last season. Looking for it here, lifts that, but it's going to stay in the park. Chance at long on, got it! What a catch there! Completed by Zakiel, whose great day continues. 72 with the bat, and now a sterling chance in the field to dismiss Zia Shahzad first ball. A golden duck. We were starting to say he's had a hard time turning on the form here. 381 runs last season, as we said, just 80 so far this year, and he will depart quickly. We'll tell you about the next batsman when we come back, but Silicon Valley Strikers trying to tighten the screws. 65 for 2. And it's Hamad Azam underneath the Multan Sultan's lid, coming out to partner Sami Aslam, an all-Pakistani partnership that will need to fire on all cylinders here in order for Golden State to make a game of this. They are already in need of about 11 runs and over for the remaining 12 and a half overs of today's game if they're going to make a match of this. They do, of course, have 8 wickets in hand. And they have the man who had the best strike rate in all of minor league cricket last season at the crease. Azam was 5th in sixes, 11th in average, 14th in total runs scored, 411 runs in his 14 innings, and an average over 50. He's on the non-striker's end right now as Sami Aslam brings out the reverse paddle sweep and puts that out of the park over to third man on the roll. Kulvinder Singh left to just chase, and so Sami, not cowed at all by the wicket, he comes right back with yet another boundary. Aslam with 6 4s and 3 6s so far today, and that, crucially for him as well, brings up the 50. Last season, that was not a terribly rare thing. This year, his 3rd in 8 matches. Had an opening day 79 against SoCal Lashings and a 56 on the 4th of July against the Chicago Blasters, but otherwise has been held in the 20s twice, and as we told you before, dismissed within the first over 2 times. It's another ball hit to the outfield And my mistake, I celebrated early. I was looking at the score sheet and thought it was the 49 plus 4. Turns out my online scorecard updated faster than I was ready for. There's the 50. Terribly sorry, cricket purists. It would have been a heck of a thing if I jinxed it, huh? Hamad Azam trying to dig out a full ball from Pranay Suri. The over will end with a dot ball. 6 runs taken off of it, but the big wicket of Zia Shahzad caught by Zakiel in the deep. 70 for 2.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
'22 minor league cricket title sponsor Toyota, driving you places and taking care of us here, making sure that we can grow cricket in America with this fantastic league. 26 teams strong and lots of exciting action going on this weekend as we reach the halfway point of the 2022 Toyota minor league cricket regular season. Nearing the halfway point of this game, 9th over about to get rolling. We'll give you a quick out-of-town scoreboard update as well. Seattle Thunderbolts, we told you before, 148 for 7 in their match. Hollywood Master Blasters now 79 for 3 at the end of 12 overs and need 70 runs in the final 8 in order to claim a victory. So they are very much still in that one, needing roughly 9 runs and over. First ball of this over, sent to the backward point region by Sami Aslam. That's a single to get things rolling here against Dev Thadani. Thadani targeted a little bit by Aslam in the first over of work he had back in the 7th. Gave up 2 4s, a 2 and a 1. Looking for a little better here. As we mentioned, somebody with a particularly high strike rate thus far on the season. Thadani striking once every 11.2 balls. So if you are keeping score at home, that'll be the 5th ball of this over, will be number 11. 23-year-old absolute wicket taker. Azam stuck to his crease, taps that, still looking to get underway. Protection at square leg and deep mid-wicket against Azam. Certainly a power hitter, certainly someone who likes to pull the ball and somebody who prefers facing off against pace to spin. Gets under this one, and that is quickly given up on by Pranay Suri at long on. He thought about giving chase on that one and then pretty rapidly threw his hands up in disgust. Hamad Azam underway with a 6. As we told you, had more than all but 4 cricketers last season of those maximums, and they'll have to go chase that one in the game going on at the field behind us. I believe a Northern California Cricket Association match. We'll have a moment while we wait, and we'll tell you a little bit about what else is going on here with Seattle. For the Thunderbolts, a big game there. If they can win that one, they would go to 7-1. It would keep them for sure in, at worst, 2nd place in the Western Division. And in the event that Golden State Grizzlies managed to navigate this chase, could tie them atop the table with Silicon Valley Strikers. Hamad Azam trying to make that easier, flies it to dead center, and that is a drop on what was a very, very difficult potential catch. I think Unmukt Chand out there in the deep. Shot directly over Thadani's head. They will limit that to just a single, but off the bat, it looked like it was destined for the sight screen. We're here getting a look at the replay on our monitor, and heck of an effort out there. Unmukt Chand, who took a variety of spectacular catches in the chase last week. East Bay Blazers trying to chase down a similarly massive total. Chand with a few catches after a rough day with the bat in hand, a few catches that were the difference in that match. Single in the meanwhile for Sami Aslam puts Hamad Azam back on strike with 1 ball left to face in this over against Adani. Did mention this is his 12th ball. He takes a wicket once every 11. That one hammered and is going to get down in front of Roshan Primus. The flat bat shot will result in just a single for Hamad Azam. So the field placements able to do decent work to limit the damage from the young Pakistani. That'll do it for this over. 10 from it, 80 for 2.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Here at Toyota Minor League Cricket, we are fueled by Sunoco, and at the moment, the Golden State Grizzlies chase looking to get fueled by Hamad Azam. Got off the schneid in the last over with a 6 and a pair of singles. Starts this one by sweeping a 2 out to the square leg boundary. Pranay Suri stays on here from the San Pedro end. Big cut and a miss. That one did stay within the tram lines, according to our umpire. A reminder, our umpires today, Ravi Shankar Birapagowda and Suyog Patil. That one in the air, could be a chance, and taken at backward square leg. Another wicket falls. Hamad Azam's stay at the crease is a brief one. 10 off of 8 deliveries, a couple of big strokes, but good field placements and a solid catch there in the deep. That'll do it for Azam. We'll tell you who's going to come out here and try to support the captain, Sami Aslam, in this chase when we come back. 82 for 3. To me. Update here from Morgan Hill. Shivam Mishra striding to the crease to replace Hamad Azam and pair up with the captain Sami Aslam. Another big wicket taken here, 2 in the last 2 overs for Pranay Suri. He was responsible for getting Zia Shahzad first ball, and then after Azam seemed to be on his way with the 6 against Adani and the 2 to start this over, a dot followed by a wicket. And it's getting to be a bit more uphill for the Golden State Grizzlies. Speaking of which, over at the other Western Division game taking place right now, Hollywood Master Blasters have lost 2 wickets in the last 2 overs. They now are in need of about 10 runs and over to upend the Seattle Thunderbolts. As we told you, the Thunderbolts in search of win number 7 on the season to at least briefly tie the Silicon Valley Strikers atop the standings. In the event that the Grizzlies complete this chase, they would in fact remain tied there, and next week's matchup in the Pacific Northwest would be a battle between the 2 teams tied for first. So could be absolutely phenomenal stuff coming up in week 5. Dramatic matches in this tight Western Division playoff race. Of course, course, down here, we will have the other two teams involved in it. It'll be these Grizzlies taking on the East Bay Blazers, who are coming off of 2 wins against San Diego this weekend to go to 6-3. First ball delivered to Shivam Mishra. Cut away, stopped by the fielder, and a dot ball to start here. Pranay Suri has been largely lights out over the last couple of overs. That'll split the fielders in the circle. Protection in the deep, though, and just a single Shivam Mishra underway. Yeah, Pranay Suri entered in the final over of the power play. Did give up the 5 wides, but otherwise 3 off the bat and a wicket. Gave up a 4 in his second over of work to go along with 2 singles and a wicket. And in this one right here, a 2, a 1, another 1, and a wicket. 4 runs off the over. Pranay Suri absolutely on fire at the moment, and it is 84 for 3 as we reach the halfway point of the second innings.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Tournament official sponsor DAFA News, where you can get all your minor league cricket information, coverage of the league there, along with player of the match awards. Looking forward to reading all about this one, but the story still to be written. 10 overs remaining. The chase sitting at 84 for 3. Another 122 needed off the final 10 overs. We're now up to needing a little better than 2 runs a ball. Wow, that one gets some purchase off the surface, but it is a no ball. Second one of the day from Roshan Primus, who's back into the attack. So the next ball will be a free hit for Sami Aslam, and he's known what to do with opportunities to take a good rip at a ball. 9 boundaries so far. 3 of them have gone all the way over the boundary rope for the maximum. Field placement has to stay put. And here comes the big Bajan. And Aslam turns on that one, and look out in the parking lot. That'll be a 6 for him, so technically 7 off the first ball of the over. And just the sort of boost that a team now needing 2 runs a ball can use at this point. I do believe that one may well have actually gotten into the parking lot. I was just being hyperbolic. Now we got somebody over there chasing it. Well, I'm glad I parked a little closer to, I guess what would be currently deep backward square leg. Yeah, I think I'm safe. So full advantage taken of the free hit. Aslam remains on strike now with that 6, his 10th boundary of the innings. He'll look to rotate strike. Taps that one. Brief thoughts of trying to go for a 2. Not a clean pickup, but Mishra not on the same page with Sami. He took off thinking about taking that second run. Nothing doing. So that'll bring Shivam Mishra on strike. Mishra so far on the season, an average just a hair under 30, 178 runs. 7 innings, he's been not out once. Striking at 143. Mishra, somebody who, if you can get him going in the power play, can absolutely be of use. He's batted there at the death, I meant to say. That one pulled towards square leg, maybe mid-wicket. Tossed back in, a single for Shivam Mishra. Mishra has batted at the death in those final 5 overs on 3 occasions so far this season. And he is striking at 241. In case that number's been opaque for anybody new to the game of cricket. Strike rate is basically how many runs you would score in 100 balls at your current average runs per ball. Suffice to say, 241's a lot. Cut away and past the man in the inner circle, splits the fielders out behind on the offside, and that is going to be another 4 for Sammy Aslam. 11 off the over for him, 13 for the club. Scary thing being, with 2 balls left, they have just barely gotten over what is now necessary for them for all the remaining overs. As we said, a bit of an uphill climb. They are now 3 wickets down. They've lost a couple of their big hitters. Karan Chandel unable to get going. We saw the briefest flirtations from Hamad Azam with a potential big innings, but then hold out to deep mid-wicket. Mishra, however, has been part of one of the biggest partnerships of the season. We'll tell you a bit about that in a moment. Sammy Aslam taps that one to the offside. A single for him. It'll be 12 off the over for Sammy. See if Shivam Mishra can finish this one in style. So far on the season, 21 4s and 5 6s. He's looking to hit for power. He certainly prefers to be facing pace. 16 of those 21 have come off of pace bowlers, and he's actually faced fewer balls of pace than spin this season. Hard to get a lot more pace in this league than what's coming from Roshan Primus. The easy windup and then the explosion from the shoulders. This time around, we've got a little bit of a delay as Shivam Mishra stepped away. Primus, a bit disgusted with that. I think we had somebody in a bright shirt running around behind the sight screen. Etiquette here at the cricket ground, an important thing if you're going to be attending, and we do hope you will come out to enjoy some matches this season. As we mentioned, we'll be up in Davis next week for Grizzlies Blazers, back here in Morgan Hill for a pair of games, the July 30th and 31st weekend, and then a whopping 7 games here the first weekend of August. So mark your calendar and come on down. Shivam Mishra looking to get that past Gary Graham and won't. They will take the quick single. And that's how the over will come to an end. 15 off of it, and a pricey one here, the 100 nearly here for Silicon Valley Strikers as they continue to try to chase 206. Welcome back. 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. We are 9 overs from the finish, and it's building up to an exciting one here. Just a little under 2 runs of all needed from this point forward for the Golden State Grizzlies at 99 for 3. They've got an in-form Sammy Aslam, who, as we mentioned, had a hard time getting out of the first over coming into this match as of late, but has been absolutely phenomenal here. Did we just curse him? Oh no, sorry, it's Shivam Mishra at the other end, but we cursed somebody. Shivam Mishra gone, leg before wicket on the first ball. Pranay Suri with a fantastic delivery. The cut through the line of the ball and unable to make contact. Shivam Mishra gone. He contributes just 3 off the 5 he faces. We'll tell you who's coming in to partner the captain next when we come back. 99 for 4. Pranay Suri taking full advantage of that angle around the wicket. He has taken all 4 wickets so far in this innings against the Golden State Grizzlies. He has cleaned up absolutely everybody. And that's going to mean Mohit Nataraj joins the captain. Sami Aslam 2/3 of the way to a century. And this ball from Pranay Suri, just a peach of a delivery. Looked like it got a bit of purchase from the finger spinner, moving back away from Shivam Mishra as he tried to play the inventive stroke. And certainly no bat involved in that. Maybe some concerns for height, although he was pinned pretty far back to his crease trying the reverse. And so that'll do it for him. Mohit Nataraj on strike now for the Grizzlies. Guides the first delivery back towards Kulvinder Singh at deep fine leg. Nataraj quickly off the mark with a single. That brings up the 100, but as we've told you, that is barely half the job done. Another 106 now needed. The run rate required peaking its head up above 12 again. Aslam gets under this. That could be a chance. Waiting at the boundary and able to hold it and stop his feet. What a dramatic moment. Dev Thadani completes the catch. And that is the end of the day for Sami Aslam. It's a 5-fer for Pranay Suri. And a fantastic day for him. Just keeps on getting better. Sami Aslam gone for 67. And it'll have to be the bottom of the order to try to guide this chase from here. Half the wickets gone, 100 for 5. And all you need is Pranay right now if you're the Silicon Valley Strikers. And welcome back to the 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Moments of drama here. Sami Aslam providing the opportunity for Dev Thadani to camp under it. Dev providing all the suspense. First, while waiting for it to finally come down out of the blue Morgan Hill sky, and then eventually managing to get his hands wrapped around it and settle his feet before he tripped over the boundary rope. And that is an absolutely massive moment in this match. That's going to bring Aditya Srinivas to the crease here as we near the end of over number 12. He will partner Mohit Nataraj, currently at the non-striker's end. As we mentioned, that ball was in the sky for quite a while. Nataraj will work that over to the square leg area and take a quick single, and it's going to be a rebuild necessary in a hurry. It briefly worked the net or the run rate required down under 12s. It is now ballooned back over there, and Pranay Suri has taken 5 for 20 in his 4 overs. And we said at the outset that spin was something that Golden State struggled with. I was a little perplexed why they waited as long as they did to employ it, but it's certainly gotten the job done here. That one is going to be off to the offside, and a great kick by Raymond Reefer, but unfortunately for him, the boundary is curved, and so it does eventually find it, even as he kicked it laterally. That'll be 4 for Aditya Srinivas, and he is underway. So we have had 1 6-fer this season in minor league cricket, coming by virtue of, from the hand of Ehsan Adil back in the opening weekend. Suri's got one more ball to try for that. That's in the air, and it's taken by Thadani! 6 wickets for Pranay Suri. We said before, earlier in the over, he's all you need. He takes 3 wickets in his final over and has just about single-handedly broken Golden State's resistance. First Shivam Mishra, then Sami Aslam, then Aditya Srinivas. The ball has a way of finding Dev Thadani, especially when I'm around for some reason. But a remarkable over here, and the entire game turned on its head in the span of 6 balls. We'll take a break and try to catch our breath. 105 for 6. It will be Sohan Bhatt in to partner Mohit Nataraj as Golden State Grizzlies look to rebuild from what has to feel like the cricket version of a punch in the face. 3 wickets falling in the last over, including those of the captain and of Shivam Mishra. And I was about to mention Shivam Mishra had been part of one major match-winning partnership earlier this season. He and Hamad Azam, in fact, currently hold the record for the most runs added this season for the 4th wicket. They went 127 not out together against Michigan Cricket Stars back in July. But Mishra is now back in the shed. Azam's back in the shed. Aslam, who's the only guy that's really put runs up at all, 67 runs off the bat of Sami Aslam. The entire rest of the team has now combined for, let's see, a whopping, doing the math, 38. And it's 105 for 6, and it does appear we're going to see a little bit of the part-time spin of the captain Unmukt Chand coming in to take on Mohit Nataraj. As we mentioned, Sohan Bhatt, the new batter, at the other end. Unmukt Chand, the right arm off spin, coming out of the hand of the 29-year-old. Oh, my mistake, that is not Unmukt Chand, that is Dev Thadani, who wants another one! And down goes Nataraj, caught in front, leg before, and it is a 4th wicket in the span of 7 balls. Dev Thadani getting in on the action. 2 catches in the deep, followed by a leg before. And a chase that looked like it was set about 10 minutes ago to go all the way down to the wire is dangerously close to being over in the next couple of overs. 7 down, 105 for 7, and we're down to Sohan Bhatt and the rest of the bowlers in the Golden State Grizzlies lineup. And this Silicon Valley Strikers team, you can only keep them down for so long. That's been the way of it pretty much from the get-go this season. Even innings where they get slow starts in the power play, they build the platform in the middle overs and then explode on you in the death overs. They were kept a little bit at bay at the death in today's match. Golden State pulled it back a little bit, although Kulvinder Singh picked up those 12 to extend the total to chase just that little bit further. But here with the ball in hand, we thought we had the makings of one that was going to go down to the wire, and far be it from me to say for sure that we don't, because I've been surprised before. But it's going to be Sohan Bhatt and Ehsan Adil now partnered against Dev Thadani, who just takes wickets. That's been his way here. That's his 7th of the season. And we'll tell you a little bit about the 2 men at the crease right now for Golden State Grizzlies, because we barely got a chance to tell you anything about Sohan Bhatt. Now, Bhatt had a nice innings toward the end of the Golden State San Diego game last week. He's got 28 runs off of 28 balls faced so far, put up 17 in a partnership with Sheryar Khan. Not a particularly attacking batsman, has only actually thrown a shot with venom on it 1 out of every 4 times the ball comes towards him. But he does have a handful of boundaries, 3 4s and a 6 amongst those 28 balls that he's faced. His partner at the other end, Ehsan Adil, so far this season has faced just 13 balls. He's hit 1 over the rope on the fly, 1 over the rope on bounces. He's got 20 off of 13, and he deals with the first delivery from Dev Thadani and works that to long on. Single for Adil, and he's off the mark. This match starting to absolutely turn starting's the wrong word. For the last 10 minutes, it has been turning decisively Silicon Valley's way. Meanwhile, we will take a look. Speaking of turning decisively someone's way, Hollywood Master Blasters now down to their final wicket and needing 45 runs off of 8 balls, so that looks pretty well done and dusted. It appears that at the end of today's matches, Seattle will be 7-1, East Bay Blazers 6-3, and the Golden State Grizzlies have some work to do to avoid falling to 5-3 and keep Silicon Valley from staying undefeated. That one just over the head of Dev Thadani, and for a moment I was expecting him to catch one off his own bowling and combine the best of his highlights for the last 2 overs. That'll be a single for Sohan Bhatt. He is now also off the mark. An unbelievable turn of events. I will just comment one thing right here. I have called 2 matches as a play-by-play man for minor league cricket in my life, and both of them have involved fifers. That one is drilled toward the sight screen by Ehsan Adil and gets over on the fly. That is what Adil can do. Those long levers, or levers, I believe, as most cricket fans say, more than capable of turning Dev Thadani's superior pace into superior pace going the opposite direction. Grizzlies are going to need a lot more where that came from if they're going to make a game of this. As we told you, though, the 7-1, or soon to be 7-1 Seattle Thunderbolts will be welcoming this Strikers team next week in a battle of the top 2 teams in the division. That one worked back to third man, a chance at the non-striker's end, but Sohan Bhatt does get home, 2 taken from it. Ehsan Adil doing some good work here to try to rebuild some confidence and keep the possibility alive. 113, they get 115 now for 7. Again, extending the arms. This one's going to hang up. Settling under it is the man at long off, and that is all for Ehsan Adil. A 2nd wicket in the over, a 5th wicket in the last 12 balls, and the wheels have absolutely come off for the Golden State Grizzlies. Silicon Valley 2 wickets away from taking a victory today at Morgan Hill. We'll be back to see if Golden State's got any resistance left. 115 for 8. Srinivas Mohan in for his first over of work. He's been an important cog in this machine over the course of the season. First ball swept by Sohan Bhatt. It's now Sheryar Khan in to partner him. And a single to get started. Just 1 man left in the shed for the Golden State Grizzlies, and that is Ruchir Joshi. He would be in at 11. The job of Bhatt and Khan right now is to make it take as long as possible to reach that point. We mentioned before, this would be Golden State's first loss ever in Morgan Hill while chasing a target. Both of these teams were 8-2 at Morgan Hill overall. But neither team had ever lost chasing, and so you would have given a slight advantage to the Golden State Grizzlies, perhaps based on that kind of history. Shahriyar Khan, meanwhile, off the mark with a single. Srini Mohan coming through with the left arm spin over the wicket. That one tapped to mid-wicket. That'll be another single here. Khan with his back turned. There will be no attempt for a second. And I think by this point you are mainly looking to limit the damage this might do to your net run rate. If you take a look already, Golden State Grizzlies have the lowest net run rate out of the 4 teams involved in this race. And it was, as we said before, from Tom Nielsen's, that's a great ball there by Srinivas Mohan. Forced a leave out of Shahriyar Khan. 3 so far from the over. We mentioned, though, Golden State Grizzlies' chances of making the postseason drop pretty dramatically with a loss here today. According to his simulations, he's got them at a 23% chance with a loss here. They could have gone to 45 with a victory, and it's a single for Shahriyar Khan. Just remarkable how much can change in the span of 12 balls. Although even for cricket, that was an awful lot of change in 12 balls. 5 wickets falling, 3 to Pranay Suri, 2 to Dev Thadani. Sweep shot bashed into the turf on the ground to mid-wicket. Primus up with it. That'll be another single. 5 from the over, 120 for 8.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Welcome back. 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Brought to you with help from our partners at DAFA News. Silicon Valley Strikers sponsored by Lakshmi, long grain basmati rice. It takes a village here to grow cricket in America, but we're doing the hard yards right now. Another single here as Sohan Bhatt has a single off the first. He faces off with Dev Thadani for another over. Thadani 2 wickets in his last over out. And continuing to update you on happenings around the Western Division, Hollywood Master Blasters only managing to reach 111. They did bat out their overs with 1 wicket still in hand as Shahriyar Khan turns on this one deep to the boundary and just over the outstretched hand of Roshan Primus for a 6. Shahriyar Khan with his first maximum here. But again, that victory for Seattle Thunderbolts putting them officially to 7-1. Silicon Valley Strikers looking to keep their 1 game worth of distance at the top of the table and go to 8-0 and force Seattle to find a sweep next week in order to take over first place. But this victory now has Blazers and Grizzlies both on 3 losses if the current result holds. Swung on and missed by Khan. That's going to get through Jadiwala, but not far enough for them to take anything from it. So again, looking forward to next week. We have that big matchup up in the Pacific Northwest on the way. As Dev Thadani comes forward, Khan covers his stumps, swings, misses. It's through to Jadiwala, but without a touch. So he will survive to fight another day. Back-to-back dots after the long ball from Shahriyar Khan. We said these Grizzlies will be in Davis for the first and only time this season. That one driven to long off. Protection out there. It'll just be a single for Khan. We'll be up at Arroyo Park as well. Last season, that was a party. Very much island themed, Caribbean barbecue and pumping music throughout the duration on what was the final day of the regular season. Grizzlies will be looking for a little revenge against the Blazers, who beat them by 5 wickets last weekend in a pretty tense affair. Elsewhere, Surf Riders, as that one is blocked by Sohan Bhatt to end the over, 8 from it, and 128 for 8 at the moment. Just finishing off what's on the horizon, the Surf Riders next week will be playing host to the Master Blasters and the Lashings down at Canyonside Park. That'll feature the return of a few important players. Marty Kane coming back for San Diego, Nisarg Patel for the Hollywood Master Blasters. That could add a little bit of intrigue to the affair, so we hope to have you tuned in for all of that, and also for keeping an eye on the Surf Riders, the Master Blasters, and the Lashings, who will be taking on Seattle and the Bay Area teams in the last couple of weeks. So interesting to see which of them can round into form and perhaps play spoiler. Here, doesn't seem to be much of a turn left in this tale. 8 wickets down, 128 for 8. Srinivas Mohan into the attack again for the Silicon Valley Strikers. That one guided with the outside of the bat. Chance at the batter's end. But not a clean pickup. No throw out of the hand of Gary Graham. And they scamper a quick single. One for Shehryar Khan. Srini Raghavan so far just 5 runs off of his 1 over of work. I'm so sorry. Yes, right. Srini Raghavan, my mistake. I've been just calling him Srini this whole time, and yep. Turning on one and delivering that to the mid-wicket boundary is Sohan Bhatt. A 4 there against Srini Raghavan. Raghavan so far on the season, 8 wickets taken, 187 runs conceded, however. That coming at an economy of 7.2. Actually bowled more overs than anyone else on the team. He's been available for every single match. They, generally speaking, have made full use of his complement. Frequently, he kind of goes back and forth with Pranay Suri. I think they saw something they liked this season with Suri, left him in to bowl his full complement of 4, and boy, oh boy, did that pay off. Here comes a spinner, a swing and a miss. Sohan Bhatt trying to get a bat on it, unable to do so. Dot ball here, and of note, with us into the death overs now here, over number 16, Raymond Reifer getting himself ready. That one stroked to mid-wicket, up with it in the deep is Gary Graham. He'll get that back in, just a single. And calls of appreciation coming from throughout the ground here. Silicon Valley looking to avoid what happened last week against San Diego Surf Riders. They took care of business in getting win number 6 on Saturday, but after hanging a 218 total on the Surf Riders, watch San Diego work their way back into the match in the middle overs and the early overs of the death portion of the match. And in the course of that, saw a chance for a massive net run rate boost, get somewhat blasted, and in fact, by the end of it, had the Surf Riders needing 40 runs off the final 2 overs, which, while not easy, was certainly more doable than it seemed like they had any right getting to. That will do it for the 16th. Another single off that ball. It's 135 for 8.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, is that a dot? So correction, 134 for 8 after a dot ball on that final delivery of the 16th. We head to the 17th, 4 overs left, and we're back to Raymond Reifer, who in his first 2 overs back in the power play was almost unhittable. He's given up just 4 runs. You can see those 2 very low bars on the Manhattan for overs number 2 and 4, courtesy of him, and he'll look to slam the door here as Sohan Bhatt works that off his pads, and that'll be the first boundary, and just like that, Reifer's run total has doubled on 1 swing. Second boundary off the bat for Sohan Bhatt. So we encourage you, of course, to follow all the matches live across this 2022 minor league cricket season. You can follow minor league cricket's social media channels, MLC Network here on YouTube, at MILC USA on Facebook and Instagram, at MIL Cricket on Twitter. Of course, you can also read all about the league on DAFA News. That one tapped just over the head of Raymond Reifer. They'll look to take a quick single. Direct hit might have had Sohan Bhatt in trouble, but Chand unable to hit the target with 3 stumps to throw at. So it'll be a quick single, and both from exertion and adrenaline, everybody's heart rate's a little bit up. It'll bring Shahryar Khan on strike. Khan so far 10 off his 10. In fact, he and Sohan Bhatt are responsible at the moment for the most productive 10th wicket partnership of this entire season. In the match against East Bay Blazers last week, those 2 added 25 runs when down to their last wicket. This time around, they are the 9th wicket partnership. For those wondering, top marks for that also came last weekend here at Morgan Hill. Adnesh Tundale and Zubair Murad adding 58 for the 9th wicket in that match I was telling you about just a moment ago. Eventually, it was the man with the ball in hand that brought an end to that bit of resistance. Swing and a miss from Khan, another dot ball here for Raymond Reifer. A match here that largely defined by an obstinate and accumulating innings from the Silicon Valley Strikers, who just refused to lose wickets in bunches the way that many teams have against Golden State. Did have a couple of them fall, as that's a dot ball off the bat of Shahryar Khan. Had a couple of them fall towards the very close of it, but a very productive innings across the board. 72 off 41 from Zahid Zakiel. He's also had a nice catch to go along with those 6 sixes and his maiden minor league cricket half century. Khan strokes that one straight back over Raymond Reifer's head and well gone for 6. Nice little cameo for Shahryar. Came into this match with just 9 runs to his name on the season. Looking pretty good right now. Shahan Jayasuriya with 49 off of 32 balls, just missed out on a 5th consecutive 50. Roshan Primus, the quick strike 39. Speaking of quick strike, that is lifted to the boundary, and that is going to get over the head of Roshan Primus for another 6. So a strong finish to the over there from Shahryar Khan, as his 2 sixes bring up the 150, 151 for 8.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Toyota and the Toyota Tundra, title sponsor of Toyota Minor League Cricket, presented by Sunoco. We've got 3 overs left. It would take something very special for Golden State to get over the hump here. They need 55 off of 18 deliveries. Need to go at just a hair over 3 runs per ball from here to the finish if they're going to do it. Sharyar Khan certainly has that in his mind. Sohan Bhatt's going to get the hot man back on strike with a single to long on. Khan now with 22 off of 14 deliveries. Three maximums accounting for all but 4 of those runs. We'll see how he does here against the spin of Srini Raghavan. Tap to the offside, and Mukchand up with it. That'll be a dot ball. So we're telling you, just recapping the story of this match here, the batting contributions from Zakiel, Jayasuriya, Primus, and Singh, as Khan looks to get under another one but can't make contact. Another dot for Raghavan. Here in the second innings, it started strong, 53 for 1 through the power play. Looked like there was a chance of them making this really, really interesting. But it was that 12th over of bowling from Pranay Suri, as that's another dot ball, just flirting with the tram line, barely keeping it inside of it is Srini Raghavan. Very economical, just 12 runs so far off the 16 balls he's bowled. And Khan, with his arms pinned to his side, forced to work that one away to mid-on. Another single, and this is the sort of over that definitely slams the door shut. 53 now needed off of 17. Correction, 13 rather, 13 balls. Counting in base 6 is sometimes hard. Ball from Raghavan, that one worked on the ground to the onside. There'll be another single, just 3 off of it. A sterling over of spin from Srini Raghavan. He's given up just 14 runs over his 3 overs to keep Golden State from building on anybody after the Pranay Suri onslaught. We head to over number 19, 154 for 8.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Just 12 balls left in this over, 12 balls left in the week's action here in Toyota Minor League Cricket, presented by Sunoco. And that'll bring us to the exact halfway point of the season, at least in terms of time. Admittedly, a lot of teams have played a bit more than half of their games at this point, 8 apiece, as that is a beamer over the waist level, and Sohan Bhatt has turned and deposited that one over the pavilion. It is a 6. I believe that may have been a no ball, but I've not seen the signal yet from the umpire. That was way up in his body. I have not seen the signal, so I believe I was mistaken about that. I'll get a look at it on my own computer monitor replay here in a second. That was absolutely borderline. We'll keep looking for the indication. But nope, never saw a free hit signaled. So Bhatt will poke that to the offside. Up with it is Graham. No run to be taken there. We'll look forward again to next week. Silicon Valley Strikers will be back at full strength. They'll be getting back Sarab Netravalkar, who is going to be on his way back from Zimbabwe, a productive tour with the United States national team. Unfortunately, unable to qualify for the T20 World Cup in October. Just beaten on the day by a fantastic batting innings from Bas de Leede of the Netherlands in the match that proved decisive. Single taken in the meanwhile here from Sohan Bhatt. Netravalkar with one of the highlights of the tournament on his first over of work in the match against Singapore, taking a triple wicket maiden. And I actually ended up commissioning the research as it worked out. to find out how many of those there had been in men's T20Is to that point. And the answer, courtesy of Andy Zaltzman, Test Match Special Statistician Extraordinaire, and the reason I'm into cricket, is 19. 19 triple wicket maidens and 1 quadruple wicket maiden. Dragged by Shayar Khan over to the onside, another single here. So you've seen what this attack can do. Pranay Suri taking 5 for today. Dev Tadani taking 2 in an over as well. And just think, they're getting back a guy that just managed to bowl only the 19th triple wicket maiden in T20I history, men's T20I history, just a few days ago in international play. The rich get richer. That one poked to an area where nobody is located. Sohan Bhatt with another single. It'll be Shayar Khan to face Raymond Reifer's last delivery here in the 19th. And we're at a point now where this is going to have to be a 6 just for it to even be mathematically possible to get a result. 43 needed. If they were to hit 6s off the remaining 7 balls, we'd have a super over. And boy, wouldn't that be a story. And there that goes. Shayar Khan swinging through the delivery from Raymond Reifer. Reifer looking with disbelief at how that didn't actually strike the stumps. I think he wanted his own wicket. He's been seeing Suri and Tadani have so much fun, but that will do it for the 19th. 163 for 8, 6 balls left in today's action.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
And welcome back one last time. Lakshmi, extra long basmati rice, team sponsor of the Silicon Valley Strikers. And it does look like they were well fed coming into action today. A massive total of 205 put on the board, and the bowlers have come out and lived up to their name. They have struck early and often. Got the early wicket of Karan Chandel, courtesy of Pranay Suri, and then he absolutely exploded in the 12th over. His final over of action managed to get all the way up to 6 wickets taken. Dev Tadani has been responsible for the other 2. An absolutely nutty set of middle overs for the Silicon Valley Strikers, and it's going to be Roshan Primus with ball in hand for the final over of today's action. Sohan Bhatt at the Strikers' end, Shayar Khan at the non-Strikers, Ruchir Joshi waiting in the pavilion. And only those who know him well would know whether he's hoping that he gets to stay there or gets a chance to swing the bat a few times before the day is out. Here comes Primus. Swung and missed. Straight through to Jadiwala. No touch to it. That'll be a dot ball. So one more time next weekend, San Diego Surf Riders down at Canyon Side Park in San Diego, hosting the Master Blasters on Saturday and the Lashings on Sunday, in a handful of games that will basically be them preparing for the spoiler role that they've got potentially in front of them in weeks 7 and 8 of the season. The 3 Bay Area teams will each face the Lashings once during week 7. They'll each face the Master Blasters at least once between weeks 7 and 8. Seattle Thunderbolts will get a pair of matches against San Diego when they come down to Morgan Hill. It is halfway between. Save yourself some gas. Then these Grizzlies will be up in Davis taking on the Blazers. And the Strikers will be at the Seattle Thunderbolts up in the Pacific Northwest in a match with massive playoff implications. If either team sweeps, it's pretty much game on for the 2nd spot, and we'll have a pretty good sense of who the number 1 team in the West is going to be. If they split, we'll see if East Bay or Golden State can take advantage. One of them will have the opportunity because one of them's going to win that matchup at Davis. We look forward to that. There have been some great crowds up in the Pacific Northwest. Some really fascinating additions. The Crosthwaite siblings from Australia, Daminda Ranawira from Sri Lanka was a part of a couple of big partnerships with returner Andres Gauss, and Akhilesh Bodhagam, Rohan Pasanapalli have paired up with Sven Skulkwick and Harmeet Singh to produce a formidable bowling attack for that Seattle side. So looking very much forward to that one, that pair of games in 6 and 7 days' time. Another one swung through here, 2 balls to go to the finish. We'll take the opportunity to thank those that have helped make this happen. Abby Kongu and Anvesh Basham working the cameras for you. Ken Wen at the controls. I don't know if I ever introduced myself. My name's Joe Hickey, and I've been happy to bring this one to you. Perhaps not the most pulsating of finishes, but a very exciting match for a big prize. That one swung and stays at the feet of Sharyar Khan. That'll be another single quickly run. And so Sohan Bat will face the final delivery of today's match. And all Roshan Primus needs to do here is not bowl 6 consecutive no balls that all go for 6, and the strikers are home free. Do we need a drum roll? Here comes the big Bajan. And a stylish attempt at a shot, but Bott holds out. It's going to be a wicket. They finish 165 for 9 with the catch over there at on the switch hit. That's either a third man or it's a fine leg. I can never tell when they switch hit because I forget which side they were hitting from in the first place, but the substance is the same either way. A 40-run victory today for the Silicon Valley Strikers. They continue their perfect start to 2022. They are now 8-0. They remain 2 points ahead of the Seattle Thunderbolts in the standings. The Golden State Grizzlies dropped to 5-3. East Bay Blazers at 6-3 with one more match having been played so far. It's a tight race. But the Grizzlies have just taken a bit of a body shot. We'll see how they rebound next week in Davis. Until then, looking forward to seeing you for that one. I've been Joe Hickey for the entire crew here with the MLC Network. We look forward to seeing you next time. Again, the substance of our match here today, a 40-run victory for the undefeated and defending champion Silicon Valley Strikers. See you next time. And again between overs, as the first ball is driven by Karan Chandel. That one is desperately need at this point. That one worked off the pads. It's going to split the fielders and is going to beat the man over at deep square leg. That's Dev Tadani. Big innings from Zahid Zakiel, 72 off 41, including the 69-run partnership with Jayasuriya. That one is drilled, though, and all the way over the rope on the fly. So far, a 4 and a 6, both off Kulvinder Singh. That one is going to be another 4. It's past Kulvinder. Starting to take a liking to... Roshan Primus gets a ball in the air. Srinivas Raghavan trying to get around to it. It's going to fall in front of him, and it's got a ton of English on it, and spins away for 4. That one in the air, and Kulvinder Singh is just going to watch that fly away. And on top of everything, it's a 6. Free hit. This cannot be a wicket no matter where it lands. And it certainly can't be a wicket when it lands on top of the pavilion where the Golden State Grizzlies are. And this has turned into a very costly issue with their ability to keep going this fast against spin. We'll see what happens. Surrey helping them out a little bit, as that is going to be 5 wides to begin the over. Well, his strike rate is an entire 66 points lower against spin bowling as he faces his first one. That in the air could be a chance. Kulvinder Singh takes it, and on command, that is the end of Karan Chandel. struggling the entire time to really get, as we said, through the power play, 5 runs behind the pace. Silicon Valley Strikers were 58 for 1. That is guided beautifully to the side of the wicketkeeper Rahul Jariwala, and Srinath Raghavan is not going to be quite quick enough to cut that off before it reaches the boundary, and Aslam continues to roll. So finisher to the team that decides to bat second at this venue. Golden State themselves 5-0 when they've chased, and that is ripped to mid-wicket and going to get over the boundary. Roll, put up the kind of totals he did last season. Looking for it here, lifts that, but it's going to stay in the park. Chance at long on, got it! What a catch there! Completed by Zakiel in his 14 innings and an average over 50. He's on the non-striker's end right now as Sami Aslam brings out the reverse paddle sweep and puts that, somebody who prefers facing off against pace, to spin. Gets under this one, and that is quickly given up on by Pranay Suri at long on. He thought about giving chase on that. The Golden State Grizzlies managed to navigate this chase, could tie them atop the table with Silicon Valley Strikers. Hamad Azam trying to make that easier, flies it to dead center, and that is a drop. That one in the air, could be a chance, and taken at backward square leg. Another wicket falls. Hamad Azam's stay at the crease is a brief one. Here comes the big Bajan. And Aslam turns on that one, and look out in the parking lot. That'll be a 6 for ball. Suffice to say, 241's a lot. Cut away and past the man in the inner circle, splits the fielders out behind on the offside, and that is going to be another getting out of the first over coming into this match as of late, but has been absolutely phenomenal here. Did we just curse him? Oh no, sorry, it's Shivam Mishra at the other end, but we cursed somebody. Shivam Mishra gone, leg before wicket. The run rate required peeking its head up above 12 again. Aslam gets under this, that could be a chance. Waiting at the boundary and able to hold it and stop his feet. What a dramatic moment. Dev Thadani completes the catch, and that is the end of the day for Sami Aslam. It's a 5 they struggled with. I was a little perplexed why they waited as long as they did to employ it, but it's certainly gotten the job done here. That one is going to be off to the offside, and a great kick by Raymond Reefer, but unfortunately for him, the boundary is curved, and so it does eventually find it, even as he kicked it laterally. That'll be 4 from the hand of Ehsan Adil back in the opening weekend. Suri's got one more ball to try for that. That's in the air, and it's taken by Thadani! 6 wickets for Pranay Suri. We said before. The hand of the 29-year-old. Oh, my mistake. That is not Unmukt Chand. That is Dev Thadani, who wants another one. And down goes Nataraj, caught in front. I have called 2 matches as a play-by-play man for minor league cricket in my life, and both of them have involved fifers. That one is drilled toward the sight screen by Ehsan Adil and gets over on the fly. That is what Adil can do. 115 now for 7. Again, extending the arms. This one's going to hang up. Settling under it is the man at long off, and that is all for Ehsan Adil. A 2nd wicket in the over, a 5th wicket in the last 12. Only managing to reach 111. They did bat out their overs with 1 wicket still in hand as Sharyar Khan turns on this one deep to the boundary and just over the outstretched hand of Roshan Primus for a 6. Turning on one and delivering that to the mid-wicket boundary is Sohan Bhatt, courtesy of him, and he'll look to slam the door here as Sohan Bhatt works that off his pads, and that'll be the first boundary, and just like that, Reefer's minor league cricket half-century. Khan strokes that one straight back over Raymond Reefer's head, and well gone. Consecutive 50. Roshan Primus, the quick strike 39. Speaking of quick strike, that is lifted to the boundary, and that is going to get over the head of Roshan. More than half of their games at this point, 8 apiece, as that is a beamer over the waist level, and Sohan Bhatt has turned and deposited that one over the pavilion.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.